Fake Forever by Tyler Walker.
Jada's dating pool is about as shallow as a kiddie pool.
Speaking of shallow, most of those men fit the bill too.
Things don't get much better when she's invited to her ex-boyfriend's wedding and she's expected to bring a date.
Along comes Paul, New York billionaire by day, playboy by night.
What are the odds that two strangers, both looking for a quick way out, just happen to stumble upon each other?
I'll tell you what isn't fake. The spice between Jada and Paul. You'll only find it unedited and unabridged on tylerwalker.com.
Don't forget to use code TYLA40 to get a 40% discount off any digital content.
Be sure to like and subscribe to Miss Tyler's channel so we can continue to bring you the latest and greatest storylines right to your listening ears.
You're listening to Tyler Walker's Fake Forever. Chapter 1. Jada. Shut up, just shut up. You complete me. You had me at hello. I sniff as I grab another tissue. I've seen Jerry Maguire for like a dozen times, but it still gives me the feeling. And that song, I'm a self-confessed hopeless romantic and I'm proud of it. Though I must admit, I get teased a lot. I love the idea of love. If I'm not watching romance films, I'm reading self-help books that will increase my chances of finding my Prince Charming. I've dated a lot of men online, but that's the issue. It's online. I've never experienced physical stuff that couples normally do. Kissing, hugging, even holding hands. My experience of a relationship is best depicted in emojis and GIFs. Call me old-fashioned, but I'm saving myself for the one. You know, as Jerry Maguire puts it, the one that would complete me. I've gone out on a few getting-to-know-each-other dates, but most of them won't make it to the intimate level. Either it ends on the 5th date or earlier. I have a theory about it, though. When men find out that they can't get me to sleep with them, there'll be no second date. But in fairness, some of them will try. Hence the 5th date. I don't sleep on the 3rd date. Apparently, it's a thing that I've found out after a couple of failed attempts to find a mate. I know some people who do, which I find weird. Do men really expect women to sleep with them on the 3rd date, or vice versa? I think that's a ridiculous concept. I mean, intercourse shouldn't be a deciding factor whether you want to pursue the relationship or not. I've never had a passionate encounter, and my knowledge of it is limited to my friends' and colleagues' stories. Living in a big city is also a factor of finding a prospective boyfriend. New York is like a haven of successful men and women. Thus, the competition on finding an eligible partner is 1 for every 10, where 1 is the target and 10 is the women or men competing. It's so hard to find a decent, emotionally available, ready-to-commit bachelor in New York. Everyone's into the no-strings-attached thing like it's the norm. Well, yeah, maybe. But not me. I'm only 29, and I'm already thinking of settling down. I know this is the best time to explore and experience, but I want someone to make memories with. I want someone to share my happiness and sadness, successes and failures with. My best friends say that I have ridiculous standards, but in my defense, I just don't want to settle for anything less. I turn off the TV and get up, taking the tissue box. My eyes are heavy. It's time to go to bed. As I lie in bed, I ponder if someone is really meant for me, because some people, by choice or not, grow old alone. I want someone to grow old with. I check my phone. I have a few Tinder notifications. I furrow my brows as I go through the feed. Why is Tinder suggesting men that barely meet the qualifications I've noted? Is there a glitch or something? I say as I swipe 4 profiles left. They're supposed to find me a match that meets the list. It's going to be Aaron Coutard all over again. 2 years ago, I dated a man named Aaron Coutard. We had very few things in common. He likes sports, I don't. He isn't into clubbing. I am, though not much. He was a software engineer and was working in a really big company, so I thought he was a catch despite our differences. I very much liked talking to him. especially when he explained all the science stuff I'd seen on Matrix trilogy. He was a geek, and I liked him for it. We were about to meet until he canceled because something came up. We rescheduled. Then again, something would always come up. I figured then that maybe he wasn't ready yet to take our relationship into a personal level. Or maybe he's also scared. Or maybe he's actually seeing another woman. After a month of rescheduling and canceling, I decided to end things with him. I felt that he really wanted it, but wouldn't initiate it. He was too nice to do it, breaking a girl's heart. Whatever his reasons were, perhaps it was for the best that I was never made aware of them. That's also another thing I like about online dating. Breaking up isn't nasty, or as nasty as actually doing it, and moving on is easy. It all boils down to the level of intimacy, little to none. I mean, sure, you exchange sweet nothings, see and talk to each other through other means, but that's about it. Tinder is fun. But subscribing for quite some time can make one grow weary of having to swipe right and left, especially when it's mostly left. I want to get to know my future partner personally, not through his profile from some dating site. An email pops into my screen. It's Marshall Simmons. I haven't heard from him since we, broke up. We've been together for like 6 to 8 months. You can barely call it a relationship, I know. We've met via Tinder and have broken up via Skype. Our relationship was kind of toxic because we served as each other's confidants. I listened to his problems and rants, and vice versa, until it was all about him and his ego, at least during the later months. Our breakup was mutual, though I initiated it. He wished me well, and I did the same. I click on his email, and oh boy, what have I found? A wedding invitation. In the latter part of the mail, an RSVP link can be found. It's emphasized that I should confirm my attendance, and +1 should there be any in 7 days. I know I've wished Marshall well, but I don't expect him to actually invite me on his wedding. What should I do? Perhaps he has misunderstood my well wishes as some sort of promise to attend his wedding should he get married. Is this his way of bragging to me that he has found someone to listen to his egoistic rants forever? That's mean. We've parted on good terms, or so I thought. In a minute, my mind has woven unwarranted suspicions, and my pride isn't having any of it. I'll attend his wedding, with a date no less. I click yes, +1.
Chapter 2. Paul. Beep, 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 beep. With a groan, I flip over on my belly and hit the alarm on my cell phone. I move my hands vigorously down my face a few times to rub the sleep away. What happened last night? I only remember snippets of the night before, and those only vaguely. I lay back against the headboard, trying to recall. It will all come back to me, I'm sure. I didn't really have that much to drink, but several sleepless nights working on this acquisition has left me exhausted, and my body just gave in to the sheer fatigue. I remember stopping by the bar with Mike and Jordan, having a couple of drinks to unwind after the long day, and then picking up this woman. Her name, May, Morgan. Pretty sure it starts with an M. I brought her to my place, and after we did the dirty, I remember her not wanting to leave. I hadn't wanted to be rude, but I almost had to kick her out. That's how much she wanted to stay. But I never let women stay over. Never. I don't want them getting any ideas. Plus, doing that breakfast thing, having to make small talk. I don't do that. Life's too short. The women I meet are more interesting after a couple of drinks. In the light of day, they don't look half as fascinating. And believe you me, I know what I'm talking about. I swiftly sit up and groan as my body protested. I have to remember to hit the gym this week. I've been so busy at work. I haven't lifted weights in a few days, and my body misses the workout. I walk to the bathroom in my boxer briefs, picking up my discarded clothes along the way. My industrial-style bedroom can seem a little cold at first, but it suits me. I have the quintessential bachelor pad. All furnishings and interior are modern, minimalist, and in shades of gray. My bathroom is no different. The walls are roughly finished in dark gray, with the shower at the opposite end encased in glass at all sides. My sink has always interested the women who come. It's a rectangular block of concrete with a stainless steel faucet, a slightly concaved oval the only mark on it, and a hole where the water drains. I turn on the shower jets and groan again as the strong bursts of water hit all over my body. I love turning these on whenever I've had stressful workdays. They're similar to having a massage. The warm water hits my muscles at exactly the right spots. I grab a towel and quickly wrap it around my waist as I take another to dry off my body and hair. "What the, I exclaim as I finally notice the handwriting on the mirror. That M, somebody took the time to write me a little note in lipstick. Her phone number. I snort in disgust and pull some toilet paper to try and wipe it off. It's a little hard to do so, and I grunt with the effort. What a way to make sure I don't call her. After I finally succeed in taking out the words, I look at the mountain of toilet paper I ended up using. With a sigh, I throw the mess into the trash bin. I can be a little OCD. I love order and hate mess. Must have come from the meticulous upbringing I had growing up. Mom and Dad were so busy working. My brother and I had to fend for ourselves most of the time. I hated cleaning up so much, I made it a point to never make one. No mess. No need to clean. I check the clock on the wall and curse. I need to get a move on. We have a team meeting at 9 o'clock that I absolutely cannot be late for. Otherwise, the old man might dress me down in front of the team, or worse, he may take me off the project. I've invested too much of my time and too much effort to be taken off it now. Besides, I've really been waiting for this chance to prove myself. He's turning 65 and retiring in a few months. I'm hoping he'll transfer his shares to me when he does. Just as I'm shrugging into my coat and getting ready to head out the door, my phone rings. "Hello? Paul." "Dad." "Yes, sir." I almost rarely ever call him Dad to his face. His frequent absences during my growing up years pretty much ensured the distance between us. I'm closer to my mom, but not by much. "Care to brief me on the points you'll be presenting at the meeting later?" he asked. My dad doesn't need a booming voice to carry weight. He's actually one of the softest-spoken men I know, but he's so authoritative. People quiet down and strain to listen. "Oh, yes." I quickly stride over to my bag and take out my laptop. I talk up the first few points we wanted to make and use the bullets in my presentation to run through the rest. Even though I knew my stuff like the back of my hand, my dad can still intimidate me into forgetting, and I'd rather not do so. We're hoping the terms will be acceptable to them. If so, we will proceed with the paperwork, sir. If not, we'll go back to the old drawing board. Okay, that seems clear and concise enough. Shouldn't take them long to drum up a response. Knowing how crucial this buyout is to their business, they'll probably take a day or so at most to respond. I murmur my agreement and wait for him to continue speaking. Even though I already know about all these, it doesn't serve my purpose to contradict him in any way. "I wanted to talk to you about something else," he says. "Yes, sir." "My birthday is coming up soon, and as you know, I have to retire." He snorts to show me what he thinks about that. If he had it his way, my dad would never retire. He's worked since he was a boy. First at his dad's, my grandfather's gas station, next at his uncle's dealership before he went on to university, and then started this company straight out of graduation. "Yes, sir. All the preparations for your birthday party are done and ready." "I don't care about that," he dismisses. "As far as I'm concerned, the party is just a necessary evil. Board can't wait to get up and get rid of me. That's gratefulness for you. I've made them all rich." He grumbles. I know better than to interrupt him when he complains. He's been fighting the board policy on retirement for the last few years. Unfortunately, even though he's the single majority shareholder, the rest of them can still veto him. I know you can't wait for me to retire too. Oh no, sir, I protest. He snorts. Don't even pretend! I know you can't wait for me to hand over my shares to you. I stay silent. That statement is true enough, and I won't lie to either him or me. Now, you are not getting any younger. By the time I was your age, I had you and your brother, and the line of succession for this company was secure. I stay quiet. I'm not exactly sure where this is leading. And what's your point? I know you want me to hand over my shares to you, and I'm not inclined to do so until I'm good and ready, he informs me. I knew that already. I was about to protest when he cuts me off. It has come to my attention that you are 30, unmarried, and with no marriage prospect in sight. To assure me that you have not just the present, but the future of this company in mind, you have to get married before I retire. Only then will I give my shares to you. I blew up. But that's an archaic condition, straight out of the Dark Ages. No one forces their kids to get married anymore. It may be archaic, but it's my condition, he repeats firmly. If you want my shares in the company, you will get married before my birthday and not a moment after. I'm about to protest again when he says, Get married and get my shares, or I'm giving them to Graham. He abruptly hangs up. I curse and slam the phone back into its cradle. Damn. He'll give his shares to Graham? Being a priest, he has zero interest in the company. He'll probably wind up selling it and giving the proceeds away to charity. I've worked too long and too hard to let that happen. Marriage has never been in my radar. Not for a few more years, at least. Where would I find a bride on such short notice? No woman in this day and age would ever agree to such a thing. Right?
Chapter 3. Jada. Jada Elizabeth Vines, Aaliyah exclaims. What were you thinking? Don't give him the satisfaction. He's not worth it. Yeah, Jada. You didn't have to attend, Kylie agrees as she sips her black tea. But I already RSVP'd. I don't want to take it back, I say. And I indicated that I'm attending with a date. You what? All three of them exclaim. Audrey is the first to speak. Jada, you're not seeing anybody, physically or digitally. Who the hell are you bringing? That's one problem. The other is my wedding present. They don't have a wedding registry, which is odd. But I want to get them something. I speak, indifferent to Audrey's concern. I appreciate that they are all concerned about me, but there's no way that I'm dissing Marshall's wedding. Audrey looks at me in disbelief. You make it sound so easy, Jada, she says. Because it is, I respond. I'll just find a date at Tinder and inform him that the event is in 2 months. 2 months? Audrey, Aaliyah, and Kylie all together blurt out. Will you guys stop doing that? I say as I chew the food in my mouth. We'll stop once you get through this, Aaliyah tells me. She's the most mature in our group and gives sound advice. But me? Well, I'm the most stubborn. My friends aren't into online dating. Aaliyah opposes it the most. She thinks it's superficial because you're unable to know the person on a deeper level since they only show what they want to show you. You don't get to observe their manners, temperaments, etc. She has also emphasized to me that most people who are into online dating lead double lives. Does that include me? Probably. But I haven't had the chance to meet the right person yet. Can't you ask someone from your office or other people you know? Kylie asks. You work in a PR firm. Surely there's someone who'll be willing to accompany you. That sounds like a better idea, Jada, than resorting to Tinder. Audrey seconds. I'm actually considering a colleague, Matthew Brown. We've both started working at the PR firm at the same year and have known each other for a considerably long time. But the problem is, at least for me, we are coworkers. If the people from the office find out that we went into a wedding, even only as friends, they will suspect that we're in a relationship, or worse, sleeping together. Matt is a nice friend, and he'll probably say yes if I ask, but I don't want to deal with the gossip mongers at work. Besides, I'm afraid it might change our work dynamics, and I'm no good when it comes to handling awkward situations. My rule is, avoid them at all costs. Then again, desperate times call for desperate measures. If I haven't found a date in 3 weeks, I'll consider asking Matt. I don't tell my friends about Matt because they'll surely push me to ask him. I'll go with Plan Tinder first. I'm decided to attend Marshall's wedding. No way that I'm taking my word back. But I promise them that I'll ponder on who I'll be bringing. They sigh, especially Aaliyah, and I take the short silence that follows as an opportunity to change the subject. Anybody willing to help me shop for a present? I ask. Aaliyah doesn't respond, but sips her orange juice. Audrey bites her sandwich and asks, "What do you have in mind?" "Why don't you get them a nice china set?" Kylie suggests as she takes a mouthful of her banana pancake. Actually, that's a good idea. I've seen a store not far from here. Maybe we can go there afterwards, please, I ask. Sure. Got nothing to do for the rest of the day, Kylie replies. How about you, Odds? I'm going, Audrey confirms. And Aaliyah? I look at her with pleading eyes. Okay, I'm coming, Aaliyah responds. But don't tell me I didn't warn you. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. At the store, I can't decide whether I should get the white and gold china or the blue and white one. Get the white and gold china. It's more formal, Kylie tells me. They can use them on special occasions. That's why I'm hesitant to get this. They won't be able to use it often, I say. Why do you care? Once you give it to them, it becomes theirs. They can use it whenever, however they like, Aaliyah explains. I contemplate for a minute and decide that Aaliyah's right, so I order for the set and instruct the sales assistant to wrap it. 15 minutes later, the assistant returns and hands me the present. I head to the counter to pay for it when suddenly a man in a suit bumps onto me, dropping the china on the floor. I hear the sound of broken plates. What the? Look what you did! I yell at the guy. I'm really sorry. He turns and pulls out a card. I'm in a hurry. Here's my card. I'll pay for it. Charge me. Whatever. The man walks out the door before I can utter a single word. You jerk. I hope you don't make it on time, I shout. It's lame, I know. Jada, what's wrong? Kylie walks toward me. That guy bumped me and refused to pay the broken china, I reply angrily. He just handed me a card and told me to charge it to him. My face is red and hot. I'm so pissed. Not only that I'm paying for a broken set, but I'm also getting another one. The sales assistant comes to ask if everything's all right. Trying to calm myself down, I close my eyes and heave a sigh before speaking to her. I'll pay for this one, I say. Please get me a new set and again wrap it. It's for a wedding. The assistant nods and leaves. I wait for another 15 minutes or so for the new set. Aaliyah looks at his card and smiling says, Congratulations, Jada. You found yourself a date. Huh? What do you mean? I say as I hand my credit card to the cashier. What the hell am I supposed to do with these broken plates and cups? I shake the box. The set's a little pricey. I'm so bummed that it will just go to trash after paying for it. Jada, Aaliyah calls my attention. What? I respond. Call him Paul Summers? Who's Paul Summers? I ask, cutting her in. The guy who bumped you, Audrey tells me, handing me his business card. He's a lawyer? I say, surprised as I look at it. Now you have a date with him, Kylie says, smiling.
Chapter 4, Paul. You should download that new dating app people have been talking about, Graham says to me over the phone. I've been walking around the mall for an hour trying to find a gift for Mother's Day. So far, I've been able to find the new noise-conducting earphones. They're great for those long conference calls. I need it, but no gift, nor any idea what to give as yet. App? I ask skeptically. Is that even safe? Safe enough? I hear they screen their members really well. Is all I say in response. Look, Paul, you have no other choice here. Father has given you no other option at this point in time. His birthday is coming up in a few months, and you need to meet someone soon. You do want to convince him this is for real and not just for the shares, correct? Graham asks. Yes, knowing him, he won't take things at face value. He'll double, triple, quadruple check. So, there you have it, he states matter-of-factly. If he gives you the shares, why don't you just give them over to me? I ask again. I'd been asking him the same question over and over. After all, I'm your big brother. You should do what I ask. If he gives me the shares, I can't give them to you. That'll be a sign that God wants me to put them for better use. I can sell them and use the sales towards those less fortunate, Graham informs me pompously. You can buy them from me, though, he says slyly. I can hear a smile in his voice. The slippery son of a bitch. Oops. Can I even say that about a man of the cloth? Probably not, even though he's my brother. You, I mock threaten. He laughs uproariously at me. Cool it. I don't want the shares. They'll just give me a headache. The profits I get from what I have are enough for me, my needs, and for the congregation. You should allow me to invest some for you. When you get old, you need to have some savings tucked away. I've been beating this topic with a stick off and on since Graham became a priest. He makes a dismissive noise. You're getting sidetracked. Back to the app. Some of the women in the counseling group session were talking about it. I can't recommend it enough. A couple of them made their love connections that way. 2 others have started dating. My circumstances are a whole lot different. How different can it be? You need to meet someone fast, and this is a fast way to do so, he insists. Besides, what have you got to lose? On that note, I bid him farewell, and resolve to download this app. I look for it. It's called Spark, the dating app for more than casual hookups. I snort derisively. I make quick work of the download and start browsing through the pics of possible candidates they have on their database. It requests for qualifications and descriptions of the women I'm looking for. I look up and realize I'm in the home decor section and start wandering around. My eyes were still glued toward the screen, though. Graham was right. There were some suitable candidates on here. I make note of their names. I'm behind a display shelf full of Lalique items. Gotta be careful. I don't want to accidentally sideswipe one of these things. Mother likes Lalique. I could look around here for a gift for her. I brighten up and pay more attention to the animals in front of me. I pick one up and I'm all set. As I walk up to the cash register, I become distracted by the app again. I really have no time to lose. I can't be sure I'll be able to find someone right off the bat, so I'll need to give some leeway for having a few duds in the beginning. I really can't expect to find the perfect candidate right away.
Nyla Thomas thought she was getting a simple fake marriage.
Marry me and I'll pay for your grandfather's treatment.
It's just business, right?
Right.
But little did she know the viper's nest she was coming into.
You may try to better yourself, Nyla, but you will never catch up to your betters.
I make the rules, Nyla. You follow them.
They beat her down, took her dignity. What they never expected was
That she would fight back!
I have the missing piece. I own this now. I own all of you now.
come into season 2 of Say Less, I Love You, and find out what happens when you push a woman too far.
Chapter 5. Jada. Summers, and Richard's attorneys at law. How may I help you? The receptionist greets. Hi, this is Elizabeth Vines. May I speak with Paul Summers? He's currently in a meeting, the woman says. Would you like to leave a message? I see. Can you please tell him I called? Tell him I'm the woman he bumped onto in a furniture store. Is that all, Miss Vines? The woman asks. I can sense her jeer. Yes, I reply. Then I give her my contact number and hang up. I try to concentrate on the marketing blurbs I'm writing. I need to submit them before the day ends. I seldom go blank, but now I can't even construct a sensible sentence. Maybe I'm just occupied with Chris's upcoming wedding. Coffee seems like a good idea. So I leave my desk and head on to the pantry to make one. While waiting for the brewing coffee, Matt enters the room and greets me, eager to make small talk. Oh, great to see you, Jada. Haven't seen you in a while, he tells me sincerely. Good to see you too, Matt, I simply respond. Sensing that something's going on, he goes on to ask me about the projects I've been managing so far. I'm blank today, and I need to finish 6 blurbs by 6 o'clock, I say. You need help, he offers. I'm done with mine, and it's not even lunch yet. I'm tempted to say yes, but I don't want to owe Matt anything, yet. Would you like some? I offer as I take the pot, pouring some onto my cup. He responds with a smile and hands me his mug. He sniffs the aroma of the freshly brewed coffee, and without even letting it cool down a little, he takes a sip. Ah, I must say this coffee by far is the best. Thank God they junked the last one. That was awful. It's free anyways. Can't complain, I respond, smiling, gesturing a toast. Coffee, tea, cookies, and other snacks in the office are all free. Clients give them either as tokens of gratitude or as samples. So what do you think? He inquires. About what? I clarify as I sip my coffee. Me helping you with your blurbs. Oh, I'm good, I decline. Coffee's going to help me write those. You sure? I don't have anything to do until 6. No, really. I'm good. Thanks, though, I say, standing near the entryway. Gotta get back and start working on them. Just let me know if you change your mind. You know where to find me. I'll keep that in mind. Did Matt just flirt with me, I think? No, you're just assuming, a voice in my head answers. I head on to my workspace, greeting coworkers with a hello and a smile as I pass by them. I put down my mug when I reach my desk and check my computer. A blank page greets me. Come on, Elizabeth. You're better than this, I tell myself. Just when words pop into my head and I begin to type them, my phone beeps. I receive a text message from an unfamiliar number. It says, Hi, Miss Vines. This is Paul Summers. I'm very, very sorry for walking away like that and for the inconvenience it had caused you. Let me make it up to you. I reserved a table at Annabelle's. See you at 7. So straightforward. Didn't even ask if I'm okay with it, I utter as I read his message. Just when I thought I've re-added all, I'm mistaken. By the way, I made it to the meeting. No way he could have heard that, I blurt out, my face hot and blushing in embarrassment. I close my eyes and sigh. 1, 2, 3, I count, calming myself down. As soon as I'm composed, I tap the phone screen and start writing my reply, but I can't decide on how to tell him that I'm coming. Should I just reply with a sure? Wait, I must address his apology, right? How do I acknowledge it? Tell him he's forgiven? That doesn't sound right. It's not like he sinned against humanity. I spend the last 6 minutes contemplating on the best response. Sure, I'm coming. That doesn't sound right. Okay, see you. Too simple. Jada, my boss Charles Ginger calls my attention. Yes? I hastily put my phone down and stand. You need anything, Charles? How are the blurbs going? I need them before you go home. Right. I'm halfway done. I lie. I'll email them to you before 6. Great. I'll let you know about the client's feedback in a day or 2. Sure, I respond. And Jada, remember, no personal calls or mails during office hours, he reminds me. I don't say a word. I just flash him a wide grin. Once he's out of sight, I grab my phone and check my pending response. Oh, crap, I utter. The message has been sent. It's barely a message. It's only an O. I sit and rub my temples. I'm so stressed right now. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. At 6:06 p.m., I turn off my computer, grab my bag, and leave. I head down to the lobby and hail a cab. Annabelle's is just 4 blocks away from the office. I can actually walk, but I won't risk looking wasted. I arrive early at the restaurant. I walk toward the reception area and inform the man about the reservation. He gladly walks me through the table and leaves. Wait, where's the restroom? I ask. Turn right on that corner, he says while pointing out, and you'll find the restroom. Thanks. I head to the restroom to freshen up. I need a quick touch-up. Once done, I check my phone. I see a mail from Charles, probably just acknowledging the receipt of the write-ups. I also see one from my mom, asking when I'll visit them at Long Island, and one from Kylie in our group chat. I laugh as I read her message. No intercourse during the first date. I put my phone back to my bag and go out of the restroom. From afar, I see someone sitting at the reserved table. It must be him, I say to myself, then walk toward his direction. As I get close, I notice that he's actually a looker. When he bumped me into the store, I didn't notice how good-looking he was as I was more focused on the broken china that I had to pay. He's on his phone talking while looking around. Our eyes meet, and as I approach toward his way, he stands up and puts his phone in his pocket. He's smiling at me. I suddenly feel nervous, but I manage to force a smile on my face. Paul Summers, he greets me and offers a hand. You must be Elizabeth Vines. I take his hand and shake it. Yes, I say, still looking at him in awe. Please have a seat, he tells me as he pulls out the chair. Such a gentleman. Shall we order first? He says, handing me the menu. Sure. What's good here? I ask, checking out the appetizers. I'll order for us, if you'll allow me, he offers. That's probably a great idea. It's my first time here. He calls on the waiter and informs her of what we're having. She takes note of everything, tells us that the food will come in shortly, and then leaves. It isn't long when she comes back with a bottle of Merlot. She opens it and pours into our glasses and excuses herself. Paul breaks the awkward silence. Elizabeth? Jada. Please call me Jada. I cut him in, though my name sounds beautiful when he pronounces it. Oh. Jada. Emphasizing my name. I'm very sorry about what happened at the store. I didn't mean to just leave like that without paying for the item that you were buying. How much does it cost anyway? Before he can even take his wallet out of his pocket, I speak. No, it's okay. This dinner is probably twice the price of that china. It's all good. Don't worry about it. You sure? Yes, I respond, sipping my wine. He smiles back at me. He's so handsome that his mere smile can cause me chills. So Jada, tell me about yourself. What do you do? Where are you from? He asks, seemingly interested. I tell him what everybody knows about me. I work in a public relations firm. I build and enhance clients' media presence, mainly taking care of their image and ensuring that they get good publicity. My parents were originally from Arizona, until we moved here in New York when I was 13. I'm an only child, so I have a very close relationship with my parents, especially my mom. Now they live in Long Island with 3 dogs and 2 cats, and I live alone in my modest apartment in Midtown Manhattan. Modest? He repeats. Is there still a modest place in New York? Rent is expensive nowadays, even for a really small apartment. Yes, it is modest. Hardly any rats, I respond, and he laughs. How about you? I continue. What's your field of expertise? Are you like one of those guys from Suits? Oh, I'm a real lawyer. Graduated from law school. Passed the bar and all, unlike Mike Ross. I'm a partner at Summers, and Richards Attorneys at Law. The other Summers is my father. I mainly work on mergers and acquisitions. I have a brother. Is he also a lawyer? I ask. No, he's a priest, he answers. A priest, I say in disbelief. I know, he responds. Our order arrives, and we continue to talk about the random stuff and comment how delectable the food are. I'm surprised to find out that we have a lot of things in common, like subscribing to dating apps. I've had too much fun talking to Paul that I'm also daydreaming of what he's like as a boyfriend. Long before I even realize it, we're flirting. It's probably the wine, but I'm pretty sure I'm not yet intoxicated. Do you have other plans tonight? Paul asks. Netflix. Let's go grab some coffee, he proposes. I know a place with really good coffee. Really? Where? In my kitchen. I'm caught off guard. What can I say? He's brazen, but instead of knowing better, I'm more surprised at my response. Sure, let's go.
Chapter 6. Paul, things have been going better than I expected. Jada is easy to hang out with and talk to, not to mention, easy on the eyes. We have more in common than we thought, too. We both love Drake, Air Supply, and Ariana Grande. We're both incredibly millennial in our love for avocado toast and deconstructed burgers. We're both addicted to coffee and love tequila shooters, vodka tonic and mojitos. We both like going to bars and unwind while listening to music. I help her put on her coat and we walk in companionable silence to our waiting Uber ride. There's a cool breeze in the air and it's taking the edge off. Again, I'm thinking Jada is perfect for the part of my temporary wife. She's cool, attractive. She has all her own teeth. That's a joke. I think my dad will like her, actually. I'm just not sure how she'll react to my proposition. Could go either way, I'll have to see. I hold her close to me as we nestle beside each other in our ride. The scent of her hair is tantalizing, and her curves fit the palm of my hands in all the right places. Most women nowadays think being stick-thin is the best look. It's not. To me, anyway. We arrive at my house. Make yourself at home, I say invitingly, gesturing toward my comfortable L-shaped couch. Wow, this place is great, huge for Manhattan, she exclaims as she shrugs off her coat and takes in her surroundings. Your view is amazing. Thank you. Would you like anything to drink? Tea, please. Thanks. She goes over to the window and looks down at the lit-up streets of the city below. I turn on the music and my speakers blast some jazz a minute or so later. Jada decides to join me in the kitchen, and she sits patiently at the counter as she watches me prepare. You look like you know what you're doing in there, she observes. My parents were both incredibly busy people. I had to learn my way around the kitchen. Otherwise, my brother and I would have starved growing up, I say with a laugh. That must have been tough. I just shrug. It could have been. I mean, I can't tell you how many eggs I destroyed trying to boil some. But it taught us to be independent, so I can't really be mad about that. She makes a murmured sound of agreement. I finish making our drinks. I had fixed up a tray of drunk food as well. Noodles, a couple of sandwiches. I'm doing my best to impress, and I hope she notices my efforts. We both sit at the couch and eat, talking even more about her job and mine. Would you like to watch a movie? I ask. Sure, she acquiesces with a yawn. I stand up to dim the lights. Anything in particular? I ask, browsing through the channels. She makes no reply, so I look over to her. She's fast asleep, her head lolling on the armrest of the couch. I fix her position and place a blanket over her. I watch the movie for a little bit and didn't realize I had also fallen asleep until I wake up in the wee hours. Jada had changed positions. She had found a spot beside me, and my arm is slightly dead from the weight of her head. It isn't painful, just slightly uncomfortable. I move to adjust her position. She makes a sound of protest, and she moves her hand to the top of my crotch.
Looks like the level of passion in this chapter is pushing YouTube's limit.
It's disappointing, I know. Trust me when I say we want nothing more than to get down to the dirty details.
But releasing these free audiobooks on YouTube means that we have to abide by the rules.
Even though YouTube won't allow us to put something so spicy on the air, you can still find it on TylerWalker.com.
Miss Tyler has an unbelievable collection of uncut, unabridged audiobooks and ebooks.
For access to the full, unfiltered scene, go to TylerWalker.com and use code SAVE40 for 40% off any digital product.
This is the deal of a lifetime, a discount that can be applied to bundles that are already listed at a discounted price.
You heard that right. It's time for you to treat yourself.
With Miss Tyler. Chapter 7. Jada. I wake up with a splitting headache. I open my eyes and stare at the ceiling, and it dawns on me. This is not my room. I'm halfway of getting up when I feel the soft blanket brush onto my buds. I peek under it and find that I'm completely naked. Oh, crap. I shouldn't have fallen for that coffee, I say, disappointed in not knowing better. I can't believe I fell for it. I feel terrible right now. I'm having mixed emotions. I want to cry and punch someone at the same time. Don't get me wrong, I don't look down on people who have intercourse during the first date. I've known some friends and colleagues who did and are now happily married with their partners. Let's just say I have my own standards. I get out of bed and wrap myself with the blanket. Where are my clothes? The first article of clothing I find is my dress. It's on the couch. Next is my bra, which is on the other side of the bed. I put it on, then the dress. Now where are my panties? As I look under the bed, I hear footsteps approaching. I sit on the bed, waiting. Paul comes in with a breakfast tray. He's in an apron, but not wearing a top underneath. Only Batman boxers. "Oh, good, you're up," he says as he walks toward me. "I hope you like eggs and avocado toast and fruits, but if you prefer cereal or cheese, I can get it for you." "You made me breakfast?" I say, totally ignoring what he has just said. "No, I ordered and arranged the food so it would look like I made it," he replies jokingly. "Of course, I made these." He puts the tray on my lap. "It's a lot, Paul," I remark. "We'll share," he tells me. "Besides, you look exhausted. You need to eat." I can't believe Paul made me breakfast. It's so sweet of him, really. As for me looking and feeling exhausted, it must be due to last night's passionate lovemaking. Yes, I refuse to call it intercourse, because it felt fitting and good. Not the good after you've had your release, but emotionally good. My muscles and joints are sore when I woke up. My legs feel worse. Too much work last night, I guess. My stomach grumbles, and I feel slightly embarrassed. "Go ahead and eat," Paul laughs. "Your stomach's already complaining." "And is this the best coffee?" I say as I take a sip. He grins. "The coffee that got you." "That got me moaning, right." I finish his sentence and smirk. I take another sip. Paul's not lying. It's really the best. "Where did you get this?" "If I tell you, you won't come here again," he teases. "Probably," I joke. Whatever, Paul responds, shaking his head. Go help yourself. Food's getting cold. I take the fork and start trying everything. The eggs are cooked perfectly, not overly done, nor half cooked. I'm surprised that Paul knows his way around the kitchen. Men like him normally isn't into cooking. They prefer takeouts, as they're easy to dispose. No need to wash dirty dishes afterwards. But that's just me stereotyping. Paul is easy to like, and he's not intimidating for a lawyer. But I can tell that his room has witnessed a lot of action, judging from the way he talked last night, as sweet as honey. He doesn't need to try hard to get a girl to come with him. Am I not a witness to it? I admit, the emotional overruled the rational side of me last night. Do I regret it? No. But I wish I hadn't offered myself up easily, at least not on the first date. I'm almost done eating when I remember something. I'm not wearing panties. I don't want to embarrass myself further, but I can't go home wearing nothing underneath. I muster the courage to ask Paul. Ugh, do you happen to know where my panties are? He looks at me and smiles. You're joking, right? No, I curtly say. You're not wearing anything right now? He remarks excitedly. Just tell me where my panties are, I demand. Okay, Paul concedes. He stands up and walks to the bedside drawer. He opens it, and my eyes widen in shock. He then hands me my lace thong. Here. How did it end up there? I inquire. You don't remember? Then the memory sinks in. Oh no. I sigh, then I put my palms to my face. I remember exactly why it's in the drawer. I want to disappear right now. As I was having the best night ever last night, I told Paul to keep my thong as a remembrance. Paul, in an attempt perhaps to console me, which I dare say is not in any way consoling, tells me that I'm not the only one who willingly leaves an article of clothing in his place as a tribute or a token of appreciation. I don't want to know that. But that's the thing. I don't want to be one of them. My mood turns sullen, but I try not to show it. This one's on me. I shouldn't have come here with him in the first place. What makes you think that you are the first one he has brought here? I think, mocking myself. He doesn't know what to make of my reaction after telling me that. I put on my panties and thank him for the breakfast. I need to leave. So soon? He asks, surprised. It's Saturday today. Do you work on Saturdays? No, but I have to go. I head to the door, taking my bag on the couch. Tell you what, I'll cook you lunch if you stay for a while longer, he offers, or even dinner. Do you want to be just one of them? A voice in my head asks. You know he's a sweet talker, but still agreed to come to his place, another voice reasons. End your shame now, the first voice urges. You don't have to sleep with him again. You can stay and just talk, get to know him better. The second one counters. Jada, Paul snaps me out of my musing. I realize that I'm just standing by the door staring blankly. I turn to face him. I'd love to have pizza for dinner, I say.
Chapter 8. Paul. At least she's not opposed to staying for a bit longer and having dinner with me, I think to myself. Let me get ready and we can go take a walk, I tell her. She gives a jerky nod and I leave her to wait for me as I rush to get ready. After quickly putting on a shirt and a pair of slacks, I go back into the living room. Jada is quietly sitting on the couch browsing through her phone. That was quick, she comments in appreciation, taking in my attire. I couldn't keep you waiting, let's go. I open the door for her with a flourish, unable to hide my glee at getting to spend the day with her and getting to know her better. An idea had started to form in my mind during my quick shower. Perhaps Jada really can be the answer to my problem. Maybe she's the one. I gently take her hand in mine and intertwine our fingers. We walk in companionable silence down the street. It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining lightly on our faces, and a cool breeze softly hits our cheeks. It's blowing her hair all around her face, but Jada doesn't seem to mind. We enter a quaint, privately owned park that I know of. The owners built it in memory of a relative who used to love this area. They open it during weekends and is the perfect place for couples who enjoy nature but can't find a quiet place to talk. "Would you like an ice cream cone?" I ask. I buy us both one when she agrees, sitting down at a bench we found off the side of the path. Jada gingerly sits down, arranging her skirt modestly around her, and we take a few seconds to enjoy the small but delicious dessert. She let out a soft moan at the taste, catching my attention, and I have to slightly shift my position to hide my growing discomfort. I clear my throat and polish off my ice cream, wiping my fingers inadequately with the tissue it came with, and doing my best to distract myself from how hot she looks. Her dress still a little mussed, and her hair in disarray. "I still can't believe we both downloaded that stupid app," she says all of a sudden. "It came highly recommended," I tell her. "But luckily I found you before I even really looked. I'm sure you're the pick of the litter," I tease with a deadpan face. "Oh, you!" She gives me a playful slap on the arm. "Flattery will get you everywhere." She gestures toward herself. Suddenly she groans a little, massaging her forehead. "Don't make me laugh so much. My head's hurting from too many mojitos last night." "Wait here," I say. I leave to buy her some aspirin from the drugstore in the corner. I'm gone maybe 10 minutes, and she's finished off her ice cream by the time I return. "Here. It'll take the edge off your hangover." I offer her the pills and water I'd bought. I normally take it the night earlier before, but I completely conked out myself. I have a hangover too, but am enjoying the companionship too much to feel the after effects. "Thanks." She gulps both down, taking a big gulp of bottle I'd opened for her. Her little tongue darts out and licks the last bits of water clinging to her lips. The action has me clearing my throat yet again, and I cross my legs. Although I can't remember the whole of last night, I recall snippets of our conversation and our date. And of course, the lovemaking is still vividly in my memory. "What do you think about?" Jada asks as she screws the cap back and put the bottle aside. "Just thinking about our date and how well it went." "Isn't it still ongoing?" she teases. I laugh in response. I'm pleasantly surprised it's going so well. I've had first dates before that didn't go over half as well, and those were fixed up by people who supposedly know me. I agree. Isn't it crazy how that happens? Though I can attest that the dates from the app are way crazier than arranged dates. "Have you gone on any with those dating apps?" "Oh yeah," she admits sheepishly. "I've had doozies, let me tell you." We start walking off again with no real destination in mind. Jada is beautiful and so easy to be with. I want to get to know her better. Tell me more." She seems to hesitate, but proceeds to tell me about her dates, and I can't help myself from drifting off and focusing on her lips. They're luscious and just the right shape, the bottom slightly fuller than the one on top. And then he timidly asks if he can have a pair of my shoes. "As a souvenir," he said. "Unbelievable," she finishes with a laugh. He must have a fetish for feet, I observe. "Right, but I found it too creepy. I hurried him out the door, said no, thank you, and shut it right on his butt." "That's harsh!" Jada sticks her tongue out at that. "So, how is it like working for your dad?" she asks finally after a few seconds. I pause and think for a bit. Do I really want to tell her about my father and our always complicated relationship? I take a deep breath and decide to take the plunge. It can be both interesting and frustrating at times. I mean, for most of my childhood, he and my mom have been so busy growing the business, so he was never around as much as we wanted him to be. We understood why they had to do it, though, don't get me wrong. But it's been fascinating to see this side of him, how he is with his work, and how respected he is in the field. I imagine that can be challenging, too. I shrug. It is what it is. I mean, I do have a lot to live up to. People in the industry know him and trust him. So I have to work doubly hard to keep the family name great in people's eyes, and yet show them I'm not just my father's son. It must be tough. I murmur but don't say anything in response. It's hard to explain my difficult relationship with my father. I love him, of course. That goes without saying. But I loathe him too. He's always had high expectations of me, his firstborn. I've struggled against some of them my whole life, yet I've felt challenged by them as well. I wouldn't be who I am today without him. He's made me the man I've become. You're sweet. She leans over to give me a kiss. Not many men would be as understanding. Sometimes he does make things more complicated than they should. How so? She asks curiously. He's turning 65 in a couple of months. We have a forced retirement policy in place. Of course, he doesn't want to. If he had a choice, they'd carry him out of there kicking and screaming. But he has none. The board has had that policy in effect since the firm's inception. I mean, he'll still be chairman, but he won't need to come in or have control over the day-to-day running of the business. Must be hard for him then. I can't imagine he's looking forward to it. No, he isn't. Who'll take over from him? That's the thing. I'm supposed to. He's been telling me he'll hand over his shares to me since I was old enough to sit in his office chair by myself. And it may not happen, though. What do you mean? He's given me a condition. We've arrived back at my place. I ordered the pizza I'd promised we'll have online, and we catch the delivery guy at the lobby. I pause in the middle of the conversation so I can pay him, and I balance the box in my hand as the elevator slowly begins the ascent to my floor. The scent of the pizza wafting from the box and assassinating our nostrils. Jada doesn't say anything. She just looks at me, waiting for me to elaborate. So, what's the condition? She asks me as we sit down at the couch to eat. On his birthday, when he turns 65, we're throwing him a big party. That night, he wants me to announce my marriage. Marriage? She asks incredulously. She's just taken a big bite and immediately starts choking. You're getting married? She stands up abruptly. She grabs the handbag she's dropped by the table and is striding toward the door. What are you doing? I ask, chasing after her. Leaving! I can't believe this! You're engaged, you asshole! She sees my house key and throws it at me. What? No, I'm not, I protest. But you just said you're getting married. To no one, I explain. That stops her. She still stands poised by the door with her hand touching the frame, though. Please, stay, and I'll tell you why I said that. I take her hands in between my own and look at her eyes pleadingly. Jada looks at me searchingly, trying to figure out if I'm telling the truth or not. Please, I say again. She allows me to keep one hand and I close the door, slowly guiding her sit back on the couch. When she's calmed down, I continue, pouring out my words in a rush. He wants me to get married by the time of his birthday party. I'm not engaged. Yet, anyway. I'm hoping to find someone to get married to first. I'm hoping you'll agree to it. She just looks at me in shock, as if she can't believe the words coming out of my lips. It'll only be temporary until I get the shares. Then we can have a quiet divorce. I continue. I keep looking at her. What will she say? Will she at least consider the idea? Or have I shocked her so much she'll leave and I'll never see her again? Jada is quiet. I can almost see her thinking. At least she didn't say no right away. That's got to mean something. Jada, would you like to get married? I ask. I wait for her response with bated breath.
Chapter 9. Jada. Jada, would you like to get married? Paul asks. Yes, someday, I answer. How about we get married? What do you think? Enough of your jokes, Paul. No, I'm serious. Would you like to be my wife? I stare at him. I'm at loss for words. Whatever you're playing at, please stop, I warn him. I'm not joking, he responds. I look at him, and indeed he isn't. Oh my God. Yes, just how Janice says it in Friends. Is this true? Am I dreaming? Can someone please pinch me right now? Paul has just proposed to me, asking me to be his wife. But before the proposal has fully sunk into me, and before I can even wrap my mind around it, Paul begins to speak again. Before you answer, hear me out first. I know we have just met. We barely know each other, at least in an intimate level. But my asking your hand into marriage isn't just a random or an impulsive thought. I've been thinking about this even before I asked you out. What do you mean? I clarify. As you know, I have shares at our firm, but I'm in danger of losing them if I don't get married. My father has already given me the ultimatum. I can't afford to lose my shares. I mean, I've worked so hard to be where I am right now, and I'm not going to lose it by staying single, unmarried. So you're basically asking me to marry you out of convenience, I say. Yes. We'll get divorced as soon as I'm secured of my shares. I consider his reasons. It isn't a bad offer, honestly. I myself want to settle down, but what worries me is not what goes before or during the wedding, but after it. The marriage and the divorce. You don't dream of marrying your Prince Charming, then divorcing him afterwards. What happens to me, to us, after the divorce? Will he still be sleeping around while he's married to me? Questions flood my brain. I can't think straight. Do I have to answer now? I ask. No, take as much time as you want to think about it, he urges. I know I'm asking for too much. So even before I arrived at the restaurant, he was already resolved to ask me to marry him, I think, processing the events. Even before he blew your brains out with intercourse, he was set to ask you afterwards. A voice in my head chimes in. What do I do? On the one hand, the thought that I'm not just a casual encounter, a one-night affair to him, has soothed my wounded pride. On the other hand, playing a role, such as a wife, is too extreme for me. And the divorce? Don't forget about the divorce. The same voice reminds me, our union will only be in paper. It will start and end in paper. We sit on the couch in silence, both facing the TV but hardly watching. I help myself with a slice of pepperoni pizza. Food helps me make good decisions. I feel Paul's eyes watching my every move, but he doesn't say a word. I'm grateful for his silence. If we get married, I start, still chewing. Are we going to live together? Or live together but have separate rooms? I want to know what our setup will be like. Are we going to be like those typical marriages out of convenience that once the wedding is over, you'll never hear from them again? Ever? We're going to have to live together and sleep in the same room, he answers, his face lights up. Do we have to be like putting some hot sauce on the crust? Sweet and doting only around your family? Around my family or not, we do what married couples do, he replies firmly. I don't expect that answer from him. I stay silent once again, contemplating on his offer. I've only wanted a date to bring and brag at Marshall's wedding, but look where fate has led me. Paul and a wedding. I admit, I have misgivings, as the marriage, if you can call it that, is entirely out of convenience. But it's a win-win for the both of us. I'm single, not seeing or hooking up with anyone. I assume that it's the same situation with Paul. Otherwise, he wouldn't have asked me to get married, right? Okay, I say. What? He asks. Okay, I repeat. Okay, what? Okay, I'm marrying you, I declare. Are you sure? Don't you want more time to think about it? He offers. I've thought enough, I respond. But here's the thing. You're not the only one who's getting all the advantages out of this fake marriage. Go on, he encourages. I have a wedding to attend, I continue. An ex invited me to his wedding and I think he's bragging. I want you to come with me. Is that all? He says, smiling. Yes. So that's what the present is for. He states, "Yes, the one you broke when you bumped onto me." I laugh. "Hey, you said it's all good. The dinner at Annabelle's covered for it," he reminds me. "I know what I said," I shot back. "But one more thing, though." "What is it?" he asks, as he bites a slice of pizza. "How long do you plan to stay married? I mean, surely this is a temporary thing, right? At least once that your shares are secured." There I let the most difficult question out. "Within a year or so," he answers without looking at me. "I know my dad. He'll make sure that the marriage is real. Perhaps in a few months, we can announce that things took a different turn for us. It didn't work. I can pull a few strings so we can get divorced as soon as possible." I'm in awe at how composed he is, at how easy he thinks everything is. I don't say a word. I've already said yes. There's no turning back. "Tonight, we're officially engaged," he remarks. I like the sound of that. Unfortunately, it's all for a show. But then I decide to just go with it. Oh yes, we are.
You think you can catch me? You think you can tame me?
Oh, I know I can. And you know it too, baby.
I gotta tell you, you're not the first to try.
But don't worry, baby. I'll be the last.
With sass like that, maybe I'll be the one that needs to tame you.
Let's cut to the chase, big boy. What you selling me?
Your appetite is big AF. I have just the thing that'll satisfy you.
Oh, really? And what's that?
Over 120 hours of romance audiobooks. Brought to you by Tyler Walker Romances in the Big AF Audio Bundle.
120 hours? That sounds amazing.
Your knees won't work afterwards if I do my job right.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Well, I can keep this promise. Because these audiobooks are unabridged with all the spicy scenes that will make you put your earbuds on. You know, Tyler can get freaky because she marked the bundle down by 69% for a limited time.
I can't wait to take this bundle for a ride.
Visit tylerwalker.com and get this audio bundle. Just don't start listening if you're going to be cooking dinner. Because you might just forget to feed your family.
tylerwalker.com. Escape your life with Tyler.
Chapter 10. Paul. Oh yes, we are. I sit back in silence with a goofy grin on my face. I can't believe she said yes. How lucky am I to find Jada and hit this online dating out of the park on the first try. Thank you for doing this, Jada, I tell her seriously. You're saving my life, not to mention saving all my years of hard work. Jada looks contemplative as she chews. Remember, you have to do that thing for me, too, she reminds. Yes, of course, I immediately say. At this point, she can ask for the moon, and I'd do everything to get it for her. I wipe my mouth with a napkin and reach for my drink, taking a big gulp. Now that I've taken the plunge, I need to relieve the dryness in my throat. So, let me make this absolutely clear. Just to make sure there's no misunderstanding, nor he said she said situation that will happen, Jada says. Convince your dad you're married long enough for him to transfer his shares to you? Correct. So we'll be married for all intents and purposes for 1 year at most. Right. Then a quickie divorce after that? Right again? Okay, she says resolutely. Boy, are you going to owe me? You have to do a good job, no, a greater one, acting at that wedding I mentioned. Of course, I tell her with a smirk. People love me. She snorts at that. I'm sure they do, she says in a deadpan sort of way while struggling not to laugh. Where do we get married? I mean, I know such things are important to women. Well, yeah, it is. I've always wanted to get married in a beautiful gown with all my family and friends around me, but I'm not sure. I mean, this is technically a business arrangement, not a real marriage. I don't know. She looks thoughtful for a bit. Well, think about it some more. We have a month or so to think. Although it may be good for you to tell me what your dream wedding is, in case they ask, I tell her. I pick up another slice of pizza. All this talk of weddings is making me famished. Between the two of us, we've almost finished the whole thing. Before we even talk about that, don't you think we should get our stories straight? I mean, we have to be convincing. People won't buy a whirlwind romance if we don't have all the details down pat. I nod my head in agreement. You're right. I chew slowly as I think. So, how do we say we met? She asks. She wipes her mouth on her napkin. I consider. Why don't we say that we met through work? She shakes her head. Not through work. Your dad will wonder why he's never met me. True. I think some more. Coffee shop? How long do you stay in a coffee shop for anyway? Your office surely has all the coffee you can drink. True again. Why don't you suggest something then? I urge. We should mix the truth in it somewhere. It's always harder to trip up if there's some truth mixed up with the lies. I look at her with admiration. That's true. You're good at this. We both contemplate on our situation for a minute. I know, I announce. We can say we met through a dating app, but that we bumped into each other at a store anyway, not knowing we were each other's matches. That is perfect! Jada's eyes are wide with shock that I'd come up with such a cute story so quickly. Just enough truth to make it good, I remind her. Then we can say, we've been texting each other for a while now, but could never find a time to meet. If they ask why we never mentioned the other to anyone until now, we tell them it's because we were never sure if sparks would fly in person even though they've flown all over the screen. I'm on a roll. But that now we've met, and we fall in love. We don't see a point in waiting since we both have good jobs, and ready grandparents who are young enough to enjoy their future grandkids. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold your horses there, pal. She holds her hand out to stop me. We're not having kids yet. Not for a couple more years. I intend to enjoy married life first, thank you very much, she says. I think about it. Okay, we'll tell them we don't want to have kids yet. That we plan to enjoy each other for the first few years. Sound good? Great. She seems more enthusiastic about the idea. My mind is caught up on the image I just painted of our pretend love story. Hopefully it's believable enough to convince my dad the marriage is for real. Maybe you should move in here before the wedding, I say hesitantly. I'm thinking hard. I wonder if my dad will be easier to convince if Jada moves in. I mean, he can't think we'll go through all that trouble if the relationship isn't real, right? Do you really want to do that? Jada asks. I look back at her and question. It could make it easier for us when we divorce. Then they can say they didn't know each other well enough. We knew it wouldn't last. Yeah, I guess you're right. My excitement dies down a little, but then I realize something and perk up a little more. What kind of engagement ring do you like? We need to get you one. Jada darts a glance at me before starting to close the empty pizza box and clearing away our trash. That's not necessary, Paul. Of course it is, I inform her emphatically. My old man will expect it, and so will everyone else, I say pointedly. Jada shrugs. I'm just saying it's not necessary. I already agreed. I'm not going to back down just because you don't give me a ring. Jada, I turn her face toward mine. I know this isn't the romantic first marriage you were probably envisioning as a little girl, but I promise to be a good husband to you for the duration of it. Besides, I continue, can you just imagine the look on your ex's face when he sees the ring I put on your finger? I promise I will knock his eyes out. Her expression immediately brightens up at the prospect. She's so beautiful with that mischievous look on her face. I lower my lips to hers, sealing our deal with a kiss.
Chapter 11. Jada. I briskly walk my way to the restaurant. It's around 3 miles from my office. Aaliyah and Kylie are already there, and Audrey has just got off the cab. There's foot traffic at the elevator, as most companies in my building end their business hours at 6 p.m. It's a miscalculation on my part to book an Uber 10 minutes earlier. It's rush hour now. it will be incredibly difficult to book for another Uber or hail a taxi. Besides, traffic is going to be heavy. I'm all sweaty and panting when I reach the restaurant. I'm 30 minutes late. I look around and find Aaliyah waving at me. I walk toward their table, slowly starting to relax. Their food are already served. "What happened to you?" Audrey asks. "Yeah, we're worried that you're going to ditch us," Aaliyah adds. I take a seat and sit down. "I walked my way here," I say. I drink the cold glass of water in front of me to quench my thirst. Traffic's bad at the building's elevator and the streets. I look at them and can't help but smirk. What's with the poor Jada look? They laugh all together. "Because you look so stressed," Kylie comments. "We already ordered for you, the usual." "Thanks," I reply. Kylie calls on the waiter and tells him to bring in my food. In 3 minutes, he arrives with grilled chicken, pesto pasta, steamed veggies, and a tall glass of orange juice. Don't be fooled. It's a platter. I start picking on the veggies as soon as the waiter puts it in front of me. "Why in such a hurry, Jada?" Aaliyah notices. "Are you even chewing?" "I'm hungry," I answer with a mouthful of pasta. Aaliyah shakes her head. "So how did your date with the lawyer go?" Audrey asks eagerly. "Yeah, we're dying to know," Kylie seconds. I swallow the food first before speaking and sip my orange juice. "Tell us what happened, Jada," Kylie exclaims. "I'm dying to know. Did you sleep with him?" "Yeah, did you sleep with him?" Aaliyah repeats with a tone of reproach. I don't respond, but offer instead a meaningful smile. "You hussy," Audrey and Kylie both express, laughing at the same time. Aaliyah at first doesn't react, obviously dismayed. I brush it off. I couldn't care less at the moment, for I have bigger news. "What happened to no sleeping during the first date?" Aaliyah asks, engaging me to talk. "Yeah, Jada, what changed?" Kylie chimes in while Audrey eagerly waits for my reply. "He's a sweet talker and irresistibly hot. Couldn't take my eyes and hands off of him," I say nonchalantly, in an attempt to sound like it's no big deal. Because it really isn't. I've made it a point in the past to never sleep with anybody on the first date. Though I might have poorly decided, because I let my emotions rule over my wits. To break this rule, I can complacently say that I don't regret it, vividly remembering that night and the morning after. It was the best night ever. One way of putting it was wild. The other was emotionally charged, passionate. I never thought it possible to feel both until then. It's worth breaking my rule, honestly. "Was he good?" Audrey inquires. I grin. "We want details, full details. Was it huge?" Kylie asks blatantly. "Kylie!" Aaliyah snickers, easing up a bit. "Huge," I respond, and now they are all ears. I fill them in with what essentially transpired from our first meeting to hanging out at his place to doing it. I give full account of the latter, much to Audrey and Kylie's enjoyment, and Aaliyah's displeasure, which she carefully keeps to herself. Nobody likes a party pooper. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. I dread of having to announce my recent engagement to them, because it isn't something born out of a stable and loving relationship, but of a one-night affair. But then I figure that in a situation like this, the easiest way to tell them is to tell them. Surely I'm going to be reprimanded for the lack of good judgment. But isn't it why friends are here for? They rebuke, but don't judge. True friends, at least. And we've known each other since forever. Regardless of my misgivings, I would have them learn the news straight out of my lips, then find out that I got married with Paul through other means. But that's not everything that happened, I remark, as dessert and coffee are being served. "There's more?" Kylie asks on excitedly. "We're getting married," I announce. An awkward silence ensues. I observe their reactions. I can't make of their faces. They're all staring at me, confused, shocked, and worried, all at the same time. But you just met him? Audrey tells me. Jada, it's not that I'm schooling you or something. Aaliyah begins. You're an adult and it's your life. But you're my friend. I love you and I care for you. It's bad enough that you slept with him on your first date, and now you're telling us you're getting married. You barely know this man. Don't you think it's best to wait to know him better? I don't contradict Aaliyah's words. She's right. I should have waited. But I've already agreed to marry Paul. Audrey doesn't say anything. She just squeezes my hand. It's an arranged marriage. We had a deal, I declare. What are the terms? Aaliyah queries. I tell them everything they need to know. And in doing so, I realize that I'm at a disadvantage. I've only wanted a date just so I can show off at Marshall's wedding, but Paul has wanted a wife to secure his future with their firm. The lecturing goes on, and I'm resolved to listen, but in my heart, I know that I'll still marry Paul. I don't hate them for not being supportive of my decision. I understand where they are coming from, and they are just concerned about me. So when are you planning to tell your parents? Audrey asks. Tonight, I answer. Think things over, Jada, before telling them, Kylie suggests. You can still change your mind. I will, I lie. I know well that there will be no thinking things over and changing your mind. I'm decided. We leave the restaurant and call it a night. Going home, Aaliyah walks with me as her apartment building is close to mine. We walk in silence until I reach my place. Good night, Aaliyah. Message me once you get home, okay? I tell her. Aaliyah doesn't respond. Instead, she embraces me. I embrace her back. Good night, Jada. I immediately call my mom as soon as I get into my apartment. Hello, my mom answers on the third ring. Mom, did I wake you? No, sweetie, but it's late. Is something wrong? Mom asks. She sounds really worried because I seldom call them this late. When I do, it's always about my troubles at work. I hear my dad urging my mom to turn on the video. She does, and I do the same. Honey, are you okay? You look exhausted, Dad says. I am exhausted, but I'm fine, Dad. I just had dinner with the girls. Tell them we say hello, Mom adds. I will, I smile. Listen, I call because I want to tell you something. They both look anxious. I'm getting married, I announce as excitedly as possible. My mother is the first one to react. Her concerned look turns into a smile that reaches her eyes. Congratulations, sweetie, my mom exclaims. We didn't know you're actually seeing someone. Are you pregnant? Who's the bastard? Dad asks. Dad, I react. How long have you been dating? Why have we not met him yet? He presses on. I'm not pregnant. Calm down. His name's Paul Summers. He's a lawyer here in New York. We've been seeing each other for a while now. The last statement is the most difficult to say because it's an utter lie. I've kept it as a secret because I've been waiting for something like this to tell you. I continue. All right. So when do we meet him? Mom asks. Dad playfully elbows her. Saturday's good? Dinner? I confirm. Yes, my mom replies. Dad? He's not on the screen anymore. My mom turns to him, smiling. Our daughter's getting married, Stan. It's too soon. We haven't met the guy yet, he responds. I can't see his face, but I can tell that he's glum. I'll call you again on Thursday night for the details. I inform them, and my mom agrees for the both of them. I terribly miss them, but decide to tell them goodnight and hang up. Doing so keeps them from asking further questions and me weaving events that never existed. Then I leave a message at Paul's voicemail about it. I'm both excited and anxious. It's the first time that I'm actually introducing someone to my parents, and he's soon going to be my husband.
Chapter 12. Paul. I wait outside the restaurant for Jada. I could come in and wait for her inside, but I don't feel I should be going in myself. A little unchivalrous. Besides, I asked her to come early with me for a reason. It feels right to go in together. "Hey," she greets, interrupting my musings. "Hey to you too." I lean over and give her a kiss. "Ready to go in?" "Have you been waiting long?" she asks. "Couple of minutes tops. And if it was an hour, you wouldn't admit it," she accuses. "You know me too well already," I rejoin. She looks back over her shoulder and gives me a cheeky wink. "Summer's party of 4, I inform the maitre d'. "Right this way, please. You're the first in your group to arrive." He leads us to an intimate alcove semi-secluded with rows upon rows of wine bottles, all lying on their sides. It fills up the walls, including the divider, which separates it from the main dining room. It creates a cozy private space that provides just enough privacy without secluding us completely. I hold Jada's hand in my own, and I have to stop myself from squeezing her a little too tightly. I must admit I'm a little nervous. I've never had much experience meeting parents. Maybe only a couple of instances, tops, and those only accidents. I've never met parents on purpose before, like this. Our table is beautifully decorated with a lavish floral centerpiece. I'd specifically requested for it, in addition to the 2 enormous bouquets laid out on 2 of the chairs. "Oh, Paul? For me?" Jada gushes as she cradles it in her arms, leaning in to inhale the scent of the lush blooms. Of course. Beautiful flowers for a beautiful girl. Now it's my turn to give her a wink. She laughs and leans in to give me a kiss on the lips. "You didn't have to, you know." "I know, I wanted to," I tell her. I look discreetly at my watch and see that her parents aren't due for another 10 minutes. I purposely did this. I wanted a few minutes privacy for something I have to do. "I wonder where Mom and Dad are," Jada wonders out loud. She's taking out her phone and is about to text her parents when I touch her hand to stop her. She looks at me quizzically. "You're kind of giving up so much to help me out. So I wanted to give some justice to the occasion. I mean, even though this isn't a real engagement, I want you to have this." I pull out an antique silver ring box from my pocket. It has an oval shape and is intricately etched with vines and leaves on the side. I press a small catch in the front to open it. The special battery-operated light strategically placed on the top piece shines into the glimmering face of the 5-carat diamond solitaire I'd picked out. "Oh, Paul," she breathes. Jada stretches out her hand to touch it, but stops in midair, almost as if she's afraid to touch it. "Here." I gently take the ring out of the box and reach for her left hand with my right. I slide it in slowly. It's a perfect fit. "It's beautiful," she whispers. "I love it. You didn't have to do this." "Of course, I do," I inform her in all seriousness. "Do you like it? It's a bit of a bribe too, actually." I clear my throat. Her reaction makes me feel a little confused inside, but now is not the time nor the place to think too much about it. "Bribe?" She takes a second from studying her ring to look up at me. My parents messaged me earlier requesting to meet you. So, I said we would meet them for coffee after dinner," I tell her quickly, getting the words without pause, hoping she won't say no. She can't say no. "Paul," she says. "Oops, your parents are here." I stand up and step around the table to greet Jada's parents, having spotted them nearing the entrance of the alcove. I move forward to give Jada a minute to take in the information I just gave her. Hopefully she doesn't pass out from nerves. "Hello, good evening," Jada's dad greets in a hearty voice. "Dad!" Jada cries out, jumping to her feet and going to her father for an embrace. They hug for a second more before Jada turns to her mother. "Mom!" She gives her the same lingering hug. Then she turns to me and urges me forward. "Mom, Dad, this is Paul Summers, my fiancé. Paul, these are my parents, Stanley and Veronica Rivers. Good evening, sir, ma'am. How do you do? I extend my hand for a shake. Jada's dad is built like a tank with broad shoulders and a barrel chest. His hair and mustache are gray, and though he's probably around 60 like my father, his cheerful expression makes him look younger. Jada's dad looks at my hand in confusion. In the next minute, he grabs it and pulls me in for an exuberant hug. Sir? No need to be so formal. We'll be family after all. After my brief shock, I pat his back in a bro hug, then turn to greet her mom. She's petite, with carefully coiffed blonde hair the same shade as Jada's, although maybe hers came from a bottle now. Her twinkling brown eyes welcome me, as she leans in and gives me a hug too. I can imagine I'm seeing how Jada will look in a few more decades. Hello, Paul. You can call me Veronica now. Mom after the wedding, she invites. I guide her gently to her chair and give her the other bouquet of flowers. Oh, you didn't have to. Thank you so much. She graciously accepts and, like her daughter, leans in for a sniff of the fragrant blossoms. Dinner with the Rivers went very smoothly. They are easy people to be with. I could see how loving the relationship is between Jada and her parents. As an only child, she is much adored, yet she did lead her parents on a merry chase while she was growing up, getting into scrapes that provided hilarity to the dinner conversation. I can't help but shake my head mentally. I hope coffee with my parents happened just as easily. Knowing my father, that could be a pipe dream. Mrs. Rivers is excited about having a spring wedding. She agrees that the weather will be beautiful as long as it doesn't rain, and the flowers will be in full bloom, creating a great backdrop for the ceremony itself. I come out of my reverie hearing Mr. Rivers mention the Knicks as they start putting on their coats and getting ready to go out. They're planning to go to Rockefeller Center and see the Christmas tree before heading back to their hotel. As Jada and her mom make arrangements to meet and talk more about the wedding plans, I tell her father, Mr. Rivers, our company has a year-round membership to front row seats at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks have a game there this weekend. If you're not in a hurry to go back home, and if you're interested, you're more than welcome to use them. Stanley turned to me with his mouth open in shock. That will be awesome, Paul. I'd appreciate it. Are you sure you don't mind? You're not using them? No. It remains vacant most of the time. We use it mainly to entertain clients. I'd be happy if you used them. Mr. Rivers gives Jada another effusive hug farewell, and this time, he gives me one too. We go our separate ways, still hearing him talking to his wife about his excitement for the game. Looks like you have a fan. Jada gives me a joking nudge as we head towards our car. I told you, parents love me. I shrug modestly. She laughs and gives me a nudge. Unfortunately, I've just put my foot down in what turns out to be a particularly dangerous patch of ice, and I go down. I instinctively reach out my hand and I grab the arm of her coat, bringing her down on top of me. Oof, Jada says as she hits my arm. We better hurry, she says after we've brushed ourselves off. What an impression I'm going to make. Don't worry about it. My father will have an opinion anyway, so it doesn't matter. Of course it does, Paul. Jada grabs tissues and is dabbing at the wet spots of her coat, trying to dry the damp spots. You look beautiful. Trust me, that's all he'll see. On those ominous words, we slide into a parking spot right in front of my parents' massive front doors. The doors open just as we take the last step. Hello, son. A solemn voice greets us in the gloom. My father's face is in shadow, with only the light inside the house shining behind his head. He steps back to let us in. Hello, Father, I return, extending my hand out for a shake. This is my fiancée, Elizabeth Rivers. Jada, my father, Morgan Summers. Hello, Mr. Summers. You have a lovely home. Jada doesn't let my father's serious countenance affect her easy demeanor. Thank you. We've always wanted a brownstone. After Paul was born, we marked the occasion by buying this property. It will be a solid investment for years to come. Jada makes an agreeable murmur. I catch her eye and roll my own a little, but She just smiles mysteriously at me, not taking the bait. My mother has been tapping away at her laptop, but she puts it to the side when we enter the parlor. "Hello, my dear," she greets, giving Jada air kisses on both cheeks. "I'm Anita, Paul's mother." "Jada, how would you like your coffee?" Mother graciously asks after we've all made ourselves at home in the couch. As we each stir and sip our coffee, Mother and Jada start their own conversation over... what else? The wedding. I find my father studying her in contemplation. "So, what do you think? We will be having a spring wedding, just in time for your birthday," I mention carefully. Father says, "I'm reserving my judgment on the whole thing." "Well, you did say you wanted to see me married, and now I'm going to be." "Don't get too excited, I'm not retired yet," he continues. "And the timing seems perfect, too perfect. If you don't mind, I'll wait and observe if this whole thing..." He makes a gesture toward Jada. "Is fake or not." "Of course it's not! Who would be crazy enough to marry if it's not real?" I feign shock. "A lot of people. When I'm convinced you will get the shares, not a minute before," Father warns, and he moves off to join the females on their conversation, while I listen quietly on the side. Seems like we can't relax just yet. Why am I not surprised?
Chapter 13. Jada. Charles is getting right up my nose, and every hour he asks for updates regarding the reviews I need to submit in 3 days. I'm expected to turn over 18 reviews. I'm already done with 5, so 13 more to go, and I still have the rest of today and 2 more days. I need a break from his insistent follow-ups, so I head to the fire exit to call my mom. "Mom, are you busy?" I ask. "I'm out dress shopping, sweetie," Mom answers. "Can't wait for your big day." "Oh," I say. "What is it?" "It's nothing. Just checking you out," I respond. "Call you later." "Okay, honey. Love you." "Love you too. Tell Dad I say hello," I add. "Will do." She hangs up. I push the fire exit door open and walk back to my desk. My stress level has increased a notch. Calling my mom is clearly a bad idea. I should be happy that Paul's family and mine are excited about our upcoming wedding, but I'm clearly experiencing the opposite. I'm anxious. First, wedding planning is taking its toll on me. I've barely slept these past few days, ensuring that nothing's overlooked. Second, I still don't have a dress to wear for Marshall's wedding and my own. Third, Charles is getting on my nerves. He has this way of stressing out others because he himself is stressed. Last, and the most difficult to brush off, I think I'm actually having feelings for Paul. I mean, I have been attracted to him since we first met, but now the attraction has developed into something deeper. I care for him. I miss him. I think about him all the time. Could I be falling in love? No, I say a little too loud. Something wrong, Jada? Matt asks as he stands by my desk. Ashley, whose cubicle is across mine, is looking at me, as well as Jasper, who happens to just pass by. No, I respond. I'm fine. I'm just thinking about... Never mind. You sure? Yes, Matt, I assure him. If you say so. He shrugs and leaves. I try to focus and get back to writing reviews, but I can't shake off the pre-wedding jitters. I'm less worried about the actual wedding, but more on the fact that our parents are too happy and eager for this event. For my part, I'm an only child. It's a given that my parents are enthusiastic that I'm getting married. I can imagine my dad crying when he gives me away. As for Paul, shares aside, his brother Graham is a priest. So the only wedding that his parents are going to witness is his. Just thinking about it breaks my heart. How do we break it to them that we're getting divorced after a few months or within a year? On what grounds? Irreconcilable differences. Psychological incapacity? Infidelity? I find it quite ironic that I am not yet at the wedding part, and here I am, already thinking about ending the marriage. How could I not? That's the plan from the very start. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. It's 4:53 p.m. when Charles shows up again at my station. Any updates? He asks. I look at him, and he grins like a Cheshire cat. What the hell? I'm down to my 12th review. Still have 6 to go. I'm 100% sure to submit them tomorrow, a day early from the deadline. I promise. Great. Email to me everything you've accomplished today. Don't forget to copy furnish my secretary, he instructs. She has a name, you know. Okay, I reply. He then leaves my station and walks toward Ashley's. Snapping me out of exasperation, my phone suddenly vibrates. Paul is calling. I can't answer it right now with Charles around, giving everyone a whipping. I drop his call instead. After a few minutes, I receive a text message from him. Do you have anything to do tonight? Let's have dinner at my place. I can pick you up at work. Let me know what time. In an instant, my mood changes from irritated to delighted. I'm seeing Paul tonight. Dinner sounds good. I'm starving. I'm off at 6 p.m. See you at around 6:15 p.m. at the lobby. I press send and wait for his confirmation. See you. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. I'm pacing back and forth at the lobby when I see Paul's black SUV. He pulls over in front of the office building and motions for me to get in. You're late, I tell him. He apologizes and kisses me on the left cheek. Caught up on a last-minute meeting. He drives north, heading toward his apartment. How was your day? He asks. Awful, I answer. Charles was extra stressful today. He literally asked me every hour for updates. Had to do 12 reviews today. How about you? It was a slow day. Just had to review a few cases and that last-minute meeting with my dad. He shares. So what are we having tonight? I ask eagerly. Are you cooking? Or order some food and have it delivered? I'm cooking. Better be good, I warn. Hey, I cook good, he reacts. Indeed, he does. We start talking about the wedding progress while stuck in a traffic jam. Paul has already commissioned a tailor to work on his suit, and I tell him that I haven't gone dress shopping yet. I'm too occupied with the wedding preparations and with work that I keep on pushing back shopping for my wedding dress. Paul is worried that I might be putting it off too long, that I won't have the time to look around and compare designs. I assure him that it won't be the case, and besides, I want a simple yet timeless piece. We're talking about the guest list when we reach his place. After you, he says, opening the door for me. I slouch on the couch and heave a sigh of relief when I notice that Paul is watching me. What? I ask, furrowing my brows. Nothing, he replies. He puts his keys on the countertop and removes his coat. He takes off his necktie and unfastens the top button of his long-sleeved shirt. He then sits and relaxes beside me. I rest my head on his shoulder, and he puts his arm across mine. You okay? He says. I'm worried, I confess. Do you need help with the preparations? It's not about the preparations, I reply. I turn my head to face him, and our eyes meet. What is it? It's about the divorce, I begin. I'm anxious at how our parents are going to take it. I mean, the only wedding that they're going to witness and experience as parents is ours. It affects me so much, just by thinking of how we're going to tell them that we woke up one day and realized it's over. I understand your concerns, Jada, he says, taking his arm off my shoulder. He holds both of my hands and gently squeezes them. But let's cross the bridge when we come to it. For now, it's the wedding. Let's get it over and done with first. Then we proceed to the next one. But he presses a finger on my lips to silence me. Then he removes it, my eyes not leaving his, waiting for his next move. Paul moves in closer, and his lips find mine. I kiss him back. I let my hands rest on his waist while his fingers brush my hair. And that's where we're going to put a pause on pleasure.
Looks like the rest of this chapter is just too naughty to put on the air.
As much as we'd love to share every little detail, we've got to stick to YouTube's guidelines to keep these free audiobooks coming.
They've got some rules about what we can show, and we wouldn't want to risk losing the chance to bring you more content.
As frustrating as it is to build the tension only to be interrupted, Miss Tyler always knows how to make it up to you.
You can find the full, uncut scene over at tylerwalker.com.
With an entire library of unabridged audiobooks and ebooks, Miss Tyler's collection is waiting for you.
If you use code SAVE40, you'll get 40% off any digital product, even on bundles that are already discounted.
So don't let the fun stop here. Head over to tylerwalker.com and treat yourself with Miss Tyler.
Chapter 14. Paul, I picked Jada up in a limo the day of her ex's wedding. She's already standing in front of the steps of her apartment building when I pull up. She's looking beautiful in a purple dress decorated with lilies, but even from a distance, I can see how nervous she is. She's shuffling from foot to foot, fidgeting with her purse and looking around. She isn't that much better during the drive over. We catch up on what we've been doing at work and laugh together over the meet the parent situation we'd found ourselves in the other day. She's still antsy and out of sorts, though. "Hey," I say, turning her face to mine. Her teeth are worrying her lower lip as she looks up at me, although she does give me a big smile. "Stop worrying. You look beautiful. You're gonna knock him dead, and his wife will be so mad he invited you." Her eyes still contain a hint of vulnerability, and I lower my head to give her a soft, gentle kiss on the lips. Her mouth opens slightly as she returns my ministrations. Jada is generous in her response, and I can feel a stirring in my loins. This isn't the time or the place, and it takes tremendous willpower to tear myself away. Jada's cheeks are flushed from our kiss, and her eyes open slowly as she looks into mine, just seconds before the car comes to a stop. "We're here," I announce. The driver drops us off at the church steps, but he will be waiting for us to finish. Since we decided to come the day of the wedding and then spend the weekend here, we'll be checking into our hotel before we go to the reception. Luckily, we're not staying in the same place as the lovely bride and groom. That way Jada will be more comfortable this way. Besides, I had planned a surprise for her. Hopefully she'll find the humor in it and like it. The wedding itself went off without a hitch, although I did nudge Jada a little when the priest asked for objections from the guests. We had to stifle our laughter as the other guests started shooting dagger looks at us. "Halfway done," I tell Jada under my breath as we continue on our way to the reception. The happy couple had chosen the backyard of their bed and breakfast for the celebration. It wouldn't have been my first choice because the tent they erected ruined the ambience, but they really wanted the Winter Wonderland scene, I guess. I give Jada's hand a squeeze, hoping to infuse her with courage to go on. She had told me that Marshall's parents had reached out to her a long time ago, after their breakup, so at least that awkwardness is out of the way. Congratulations. Congratulations. Best wishes on this new life together. Looking forward to meeting little Marshalls or Jennifers in the future. We hear a mix of well wishes from the different guests as they congratulate the newlyweds in the receiving line. "Why, hello, Jada. Nice of you to come." Marshall greets as he leans over and gives Jada a longer than his comfortable hug. I see Jada push him away and just continue the handshake, so I pull her to my side more closely. I'm her fiancé, Paul Summers. I extend my hand out, giving him a tighter squeeze than is conventional. He winces a little. "So, you must be the lucky one. Jada is a firecracker, aren't you, Jada?" Marshall tries to kid. His wife elbows him in the ribs and gives him a glare. We move right along out of the line of fire. "What a jerk," Jada grumbles as we make our way to our seats. "Let's just eat and go." "Oh, but we mustn't do that. We should stay as long as we can," I tell her with a wink. She looks at me quizzically. "But By now, she knows me better, to at least have a hint of what I'm planning. Paul, we'd reached our table now, though, so what she has to say is cut off. Marshall and Jennifer put us with the entourage. Scumbag, I say under my breath. Of course, he wants Jada to be the subject of pity from his friends. Who knows what stories he told them about her when they broke up. Whatever it is, it can't have been good. We sit down and make a point of studying the menu on top of our plates. No one really comes over to talk to us, so we're breathing a little bit. Though as soon as the reception starts, our table mates start talking to us, assuming we're close friends of the couple to be sitting there. So, do you think Marshall's crazy ex will show up today? One of the groomsmen asks with a laugh. Crazy ex? I ask as I feel Jada stiffen beside me. Her hands are clutching her knees tightly under the table, and I take one of them between my hands to caress them. Yeah, man. Marshall told us he invited his ex to come because she's been chasing after him since they broke up, and he's been hiding from her, but she somehow always seems to find him, begging him to take her back and everything. So he invites her to his wedding. That way she'll stop chasing him and realize that it's really all over between them. Jada starts choking on the cherry tomato she's just put in her mouth. Are you okay? They ask. We thank them for their concern. I'm okay, Jada says, wiping her mouth in her napkin. How do you know Marshall and Jennifer? Marshall is actually my ex, Jada explains. Her statement is met with stunned silence as our table mates look at each other uncomfortably. So, what do you do, Paul? The woman beside me, who looks to be a bridesmaid, asks, breaking the silence. Oh, I just work at the family business. I do my best to dismiss what I do. I don't want to be in the spotlight right now. But, Jada, you should ask her. She works in PR, and she's so great at her job, she always gets these exclusive access passes from her clients. Of course, she can't accept them, but they insist anyway. It got so their company changed their policy. The clients themselves asked them to. They really wanted to be able to show her how much they appreciate her help. Wow, that is awesome. Any clients you can tell us about? Oh, Jada is too modest to say, but how do I say it? Her best client is a certain someone with blonde hair and who writes songs about her boyfriends. OMG. Really? That's great. Maybe you can introduce us sometime. Isn't PR a lot of work? A glamorous-sounding job with less than glamorous perks? One of the bridesmaids asks. It can be, especially when you're first starting out, Jada says quietly. She knows I'm messing with them, but knows enough to be quiet and see how this all plays out first. But Jada has done such a great job. She's been promoted twice already, I tell them proudly. That one isn't a lie. How did you get such a great job? What did you major in college? Another bridesmaid asked enviously. Public relations, Jada informs them. Her dad is actually a big deal in the automotive industry in their hometown, and Jada here helped him come out with a PR campaign when she was still in high school. It blew up all over social media and the internet. The universities were all clamoring for her to go to their school, and that success only continued from then until now. I say to my awestruck audience, it's rare for people our age to be so accomplished. You know those viral videos about the man doing all those crazy revamps of vans, buses, and RVs he finds at a salvage yard? They all nod. That's him. They all echo murmurs of awe. Everyone's heard of those videos. Even I have been astonished to learn Jada had been the brainchild behind them. It's all my dad. I just put a camera in front of him, Jada says modestly. Still. Why don't we dance? Jada asks me pointedly. I stand up to accept and we walk to the dance floor. You don't need to tell them all about my life, she says. Yeah, I do, I tell her. Besides, you're too modest to say anything, and this is the best place to brag. They'll tell Marshall all about you for sure. Plus, no one knows us here. Whatever I say about you, we're unlikely to see them again. And we're not inviting any of them to our wedding. Jada laughs into my shoulder. You have a point. We dance quietly for a bit. Jada has great rhythm. We dance pretty well together, considering it's our first time to do so. If we dance this well now, our wedding will be great, I enthuse. She murmurs in agreement, and I add some more fancy moves, spinning her around and moving away and back. I do it dramatically, and she laughs in response, playing along. "Thank you for defending me back there, Paul," she says in all seriousness after a couple of beats. "Of course," I say gallantly. "No one can badmouth my fiancée while I'm around." I twirl her and bring her back to me just as the song ends. I drop her in a dip and look intensely in her eyes. She really is sweet, funny, and beautiful. Marshall's loss is my gain, I think, as I give her a deep, slow kiss right in the middle of the dance floor. We kiss for a long time, the world around us fading away into the background as we immerse ourselves into this moment. After a few minutes, though, the music starts coming back into my ears, and I realize where we are. Why don't we go back to our hotel and celebrate on our own? Sounds like a plan, she agrees breathlessly. We leave without bothering to say goodbye to anyone. I doubt anyone expected us to. As soon as I open the door to the honeymoon suite of our own hotel, Jada and I grab each other and exchange frenetic kisses. Her lips are reaching for me and kissing any place they can get. I remove my coat and tie as fast as I can. Her fingers are frantically unbuttoning my shirt, and I'm topless when my knees hit the bed and I fall backwards on top of it.
I hate to put a stop to a good time, but it looks like we've hit YouTube's limit for spiciness.
YouTube's got some rules we have to play by if we want to keep giving you these stories for free.
And trust me, this scene isn't something you want to miss.
While we can't get into all the details here, you can still dive into the full uncut version at tylawalker.com.
Miss Tyla has an entire collection of unabridged audiobooks and ebooks waiting for you.
And the best part? You can treat yourself with 40% off when you use the code SAVE40.
That's right. You'll save on any digital product, even bundles that are already discounted.
Miss Tyla would never let anyone feel the kind of disappointment you must be feeling right now.
So why wait? Treat yourself with Miss Tyla. Chapter 15. Jada. "I do," Paul declares. "Elizabeth Vines," the minister continues, "do you take Paul Summers to be your lawfully wedded husband, to love, honor, and obey, to have and to cherish, for richer or poorer, in sickness and health, in good times and woe, as you both shall live?" "I do," I proclaim. "By the power vested in me by the state of New York, I now pronounce you husband and wife," the minister states. Paul and I kiss and embrace. As of this moment, and until we remain married, I'm officially Mrs. Paul Summers. Our family and friends applaud, take photos, and throw petals at us as we exit the ceremony. The reception follows, and everyone is having a good time. Originally, it was Paul's idea to have an intimate guest list. I couldn't be any happier that I agreed. Seeing the people we love and look up to spend this most important day of our lives with us is bliss. Just when I thought I've seen it all, Paul has surprised me during my march. He has gone behind my back to hire a string quartet and play U2's All I Want Is You. I've mentioned it to him when we were still planning, but I don't expect him to actually remember it. I'm glad he did, and it has endeared him to me even more. We stay behind the reception venue until the last guest has left. Finally, we can rest, Paul tells me. "Can't wait to shower and get on my jammies," I say. The chauffeur picks us up and takes us to the hotel. Traffic is not as bad as it usually is. It's already past 9 p.m., but there's still buildup. I'm starving, as I didn't get to eat properly during the reception. We granted every photo request from our guests, and we made sure that everyone was welcomed and thanked. I asked Paul if we can go grab something to eat first before heading to the hotel. "We can go get burgers in a drive-thru," he suggests. He then instructs the chauffeur about the location. When we get there, I order a double cheeseburger, large fries and onion rings, and a large soda. Paul orders the same too, only with regular sides and drink. You should have changed before we left the venue. Your dress might get stained with all these food, he says. No time, too busy, I reply as I munch on an onion ring. Can you give me some ketchup? Paul hands me one while he takes a bite of his burger. How was your burger? I ask. We ordered the same, he laughs. I finish off my meal faster than Paul, and eager to talk about the just concluded wedding, I start by thanking him for the string quartet band. Anything for my wife, he responds. Wife. I like the sound of that. We talk about the funny and embarrassing episodes during the wedding, especially the toasts and roasts. Just by listening to Paul's parents' and friends' speeches, I've come to know him more. Thankfully, none of his friends have referred to his previous relationships. Because it's a joke or not, it's inappropriate. Despite the rigorous planning, and me and my coordinator being immensely hands-on, we've still encountered minor mishaps during the event. Paul and I laugh, recalling how we used a santoku knife to cut the cake instead of a cake knife. But it's no biggie, really. I wouldn't know the difference until my mother-in-law has pointed it out to me. Another unfortunate event involves the birds. I don't like birds. As a child, I used to avoid power lines because birds usually perch on them to poop. So when the bird segment came in, I held the dove loosely and it flew. No one was able to catch it. It sat instead in one of the trees and instantly flew away. Paul and I ended up sharing one dove. We get carried away talking that I unconsciously bring up a sensitive topic. Babies. In our parents' speeches, they have not only congratulated us, but have also expressed their excitement towards welcoming grandchildren. I've already brought it out in the open before I realized that it's stupid of me to do so. You don't have to worry about it, Jada. As soon as everything's finalized, we'll file for a divorce, Paul tells me. How does he make it seem so easy? I wonder. I know this is all for a show, and we had a deal. Then again, I can't help but expect that somehow he has developed some kind of affection, deeper affection towards me. Whenever post-wedding stuff is brought up, babies, anniversaries, family trips, he always tries to console me that we'll soon get divorced, as if that's comforting. It has been difficult for me lately because I'm starting to actually want this life with Paul. And it gives my heart a sad sinking feeling whenever he mentions about the divorce, like it's the solution to everything. It's all about cementing his position on their firm. But what about me? Call me selfish. I don't care. Doesn't he care for me? I don't want to ruin this day for us. After all, it's our wedding day, albeit fake. How soon do you think it will be? I inquire, trying to sound indifferent. Maybe the longest will be 1.5 years, he responds. Hey, we just got married and you can't wait to get rid of me. But I'm not the one who always talks of divorce. Because you're a pain in the ass, I joke. No, I'm not, he disagrees. The chauffeur pulls over at the hotel lobby, and Paul helps me out of the car. We don't talk during the whole elevator ride to our suite, which makes it a painfully long one. It's a long elevator trip, 33 floors to be exact. What could he be thinking? I wonder. Is he thinking what I'm thinking that I'm trying to figure out what he's thinking? I furrow my brows, getting lost in my own thoughts. We reach the 33rd floor, and Paul holds the elevator doors for me. He then carries me to our suite. Just like what newly married couples do, he remarks, looking straight into my eyes. I put my arms around his neck. You know, 3,311 is just around the corner. I can walk, I say, laughing. He insists. He struggles as he walks towards the hallway. I can't stop giggling. Let's do this again after 10 years, I suggest. He smiles and puts me down. He swipes the key card to our door and opens it. He gestures for me to go in first, and so I do. I can tell that this night is going to be silent and awkward.
You won't know what hit you, baby. I'm going to take you, break you, and make you mine. And when I'm done, you're...
Now hold on just a minute.
What?
I got something to say.
What's the meaning of this?
Now you may be some fine-looking white boy,
Got that right, baby. It takes hard work.
and you might got the money,
Fat stacks, baby, to spoil you with.
but that doesn't mean I'm going to give it up to you without a fight.
A fight?
You want some limp wilting flowers? Go to historical romance, baby. But you want sassy and spicy strong black queens that tame their alpha male bad boys?
I think our listeners do.
Then you go on and look at Miss Tyla's Bougie Brides and Billionaires audio bundle.
50 hours of me whispering the most romantic things in your ears. Fake marriages, alpha male billionaires, strong black women, steamy scenes that will make your eyes roll back. And everything wrapped up in a happily ever after that will put you in an afterglow.
Use code SAVE40 to get 40% off this bundle and any other digital product in Miss Tyla's store.
Unabridged and uncut.
Just like you,
You're gonna have to find out.
Tyla Walker Romances. Escape your life with sassy romance.
Chapter 16. Paul, it's my first day back since our wedding, and I can't wait to dive into the work. I know it's kind of weird that we're returning so soon, but it's crunch time in both her office and mine. April is a pretty time of year to get married, but not to miss work. It's tax season, so our offices are frantically making sure every paperwork is filed and documented properly. Our auditors will be coming in a few days afterward, too. We do this yearly to make sure our reputation remains impeccable for our clients. After all, how can they trust us to invest their money if we don't have a sterling reputation? I come in and am immediately greeted with a chorus of congratulations and how was the mini-moon? They all find it hilarious that I'm in the office bright and early Monday morning after getting married just this Saturday. What happened, Paul? Morning exercise with the wife give you too much energy you need to burn some here? One of my coworkers joked. Ha ha ha, I tell him in return. Such dedication, another one commented. Seriously, why are you back so soon? You're making us all look bad. Jason, who came into the firm the same time as I did, tells me as he and Matt, another colleague, follow me into my office. We both decided this is a bad time to be away. We both have a lot of work to do. We'll take a honeymoon soon, when we can both leave for a longer time, I explain as I put down all my stuff on top of my desk. They both reluctantly nod their heads in agreement. Besides, your dad is about to retire. You should be here when he announces you made partner, Matt says. He still has another month before he turns 65. Yeah, but he should really start turning over stuff to you. He will, I'm sure, in due time. I busy myself with the paperwork on my desk, and they take this cue to leave. Much as I'm impatient to find out if my father really will give me his shares, I'm not about to complain about it to these guys. This is still a professional environment after all, and my father has his name to protect, too. Paul? My intercom crackles to life as Michelle, my secretary, buzzes me. Yes? Mr. Summers would like you to meet him in his office in 15 minutes. I thought he's meeting the board. He is, but his secretary informs me it's winding down now. Do I confirm you will go? Sure. Do that, please. Thank you. My heart is racing in excitement at this news. What could Father want to talk to me about? The shares? Maybe. There's nothing else on our plates after all. I text Jada. It could be happening. Asterisk, smiley face, emoji asterisk. What's happening? Asterisk, confused face emoji asterisk. The shares! Asterisk, 3 grinning emojis asterisk. That's great news. Let me know how it goes. Congratulations! Asterisk, kissy face emoji asterisk. Asterisk, kissy face emoji asterisk. I browse through the stack of mail Michelle had placed on my inbox and separate those that need my closer attention later. I fast-route a couple of the documents that required my signature, but luckily they were mainly requests for overtime, nothing that necessitated deeper study. I glance at my watch and stand up, going to my father's office. "Good luck," Michelle says to me in a hush. I pace outside my father's office, waiting for his secretary to come out and announce me. Thoughts are racing through my mind. Could this be it? Most of the plans for his retirement are in full force already. The papers just need to be signed, and the official turnover has yet to start. "You can go in now, Paul. They're waiting for you," Harriet Brown, the keeper of the inner sanctum, informs me curtly. She's always guarded my father jealously. She used to give me sweets and treats when I was younger, but when I started working here, she's treated me only with more formal and professional deference. "Thank you, Miss Harriet," I say courteously. She allows a small smile to escape her lips, and in my utter shock, I'm taking a second to process the scene in front of me. My father is sitting behind his desk, and two of the lawyers from the firm we use are standing right beside him, taking their leave. I've worked with them before, so I return their nods goodbye. I wonder what they've been doing here. But I'm just assuming it has something to do with the turnover process. "Sit down, Paul." My father gestures to the chair in front of me. "Good morning, Father," I greet him before unbuttoning my coat and taking the chair he pointed out to me. "Have some coffee," he invites. "Thank you, don't mind if I do." After I've prepared the cup the way I like it, I sit down again and focus my whole attention on him. He places a call to Miss Harriet to come into the room and take down the minutes for this meeting. She comes in and sits beside my chair, placing her shorthand notebook in her lap and getting ready to take down what we're going to talk about. "So, as you know, I'm about to retire in a month," Father says with contempt, his face twisting in a grimace when he says the word retiree. "The older members of the company are feeling resentment that you, a young whippersnapper, their words not mine," he tells me when he sees me about to interrupt. "I've thought of a solution to circumvent any protests and to establish your position in one fell swoop." "Yes, of course, I'll do whatever is necessary. It may require long days and nights. I'm telling you because you are newly married." Again, Father puts an inflection on a newly married. "And I don't want to create any marriage problems for you when you finally found a good woman." My brain is working at the speed of light. Even during the wedding, I could see no inclination that Father approved or even liked Jada. And now he calls her good woman? That's high praise coming from him. Maybe age is finally mellowing him down. I concentrate back into the conversation. "You will run point on this. Our client for this project is Harrison Belford, the owner and CEO of Belford Industries. I will introduce you to him when he comes later at 2 o'clock. We're setting up a new division focusing on mergers and acquisitions. You will head it. You can pick and choose the people to work in your team. God knows we have too many employees with not enough to do. We are offering all services from the ground up, including negotiations, background research on credit and financial capabilities, coordinating with lawyers, the works. I'm sure I don't need to spell it out for you," he tells me wryly. He didn't. This is big. "You know that turnover for my responsibilities won't begin until I'm officially 65. Doing so will probably take 6 months at least, so this is the perfect opportunity for you to get your feet wet and ensure you're capable of leading this company." "I appreciate this opportunity, Father. You won't regret it," I tell him solemnly. "I better not. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed by feeling for him. I want to hug him for trusting me with this big responsibility. It's what I've been working toward my whole life, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. The shares are big, but I've always known I'm his heir, and he will give them to me, even if just to prevent other people from getting a majority share in our company. But giving me this chance, he could have given it to anyone. That spiel about the older employees is just that. Father never cares about what other people think. So what are you waiting for? Why don't you get started?" His question cuts into my reverie, and I realize the moment has passed as I look at him signing papers in his desk. I didn't even notice Miss Harriet had already left the room. I nod in acknowledgement and take my leave, anxious to begin.
Chapter 17. Jada. I open the door to my apartment and leave the keys at the bowl on the side table. I haven't heard from Paul in a week. I'm too occupied recently with work, as our client is launching a new product line and we're heavily boosting its online presence. But that hasn't kept my mind on thinking about Paul and wondering why he hasn't dropped me a line. I don't want to feel bad. I can't feel bad. I'm not supposed to feel bad. Should I call him first? This is probably not the best time. It's late. He may be sleeping or working on some case. I heat up the food in the microwave as I change clothes. I'm too tired and lazy to shower. I take the heated food out and turn on the TV. I sit on the couch and start scanning some channels. I decide to watch a movie instead, since there are no good programs at this time. Before sunrise, I utter, putting a spoonful of chicken in my mouth. Notting Hill, Pretty Woman, 27 Dresses. Swallowing the food. The Prince and Me, Friends with Benefits, City of Angels. The movie starts playing, and I'm halfway through the Kung Pao chicken. This is good, I comment, looking at my almost empty bowl. I'm going to try their stir-fried veggies next. Just when I thought that watching a movie would help keep my mind off Paul, I was mistaken. I should have watched a suspense film or a psycho thriller, not Friends with Benefits. As the movie progresses, I also start processing my own feelings towards Paul. Are we just friends with benefits? Nope. More like strangers who are in for the benefit, I realize. Clearly, it isn't a parasitic relationship, but it isn't mutual either. Commensalistic? No. I'm affected. I'm not supposed to be affected, but I am. Whether he calls or not, I should be fine with it, because we've had a deal. Then it dawns on me. We have an agreement, not marriage. I push myself to think too much that I fall asleep without realizing it. The last thing I remember is hearing Closing Time by Semisonic. Could you pass me the maple syrup, Jada? Kylie asks. Sure, I reply. So the last time I heard from him was last Friday. It has been a week since he called or sent me a message. Even if you're in a fake marriage, that's weird, Audrey comments. He should at least check on you. Maybe he's just into the case you've mentioned, Aaliyah speculates. From what you said, it could be a defining moment of his career. Don't sweat it, hun. She smiles at me reassuringly. I know, but I was just hoping he'd reach out. It seems like I'm the only one in character, I say, picking at my food. I don't blame Paul for this feeling. Needy and neglected. It's all on me. I'm the one who went overboard. Had I not agreed on this arrangement, I can't finish it. Jada, let's process this together, Kylie suggests. First, you have to acknowledge the problem or whatever it is that's causing you to feel that way. Paul, I answer. He's neglecting me. Are you sure? Audrey confirms. I throw her a confused look. You're right with Paul, she continues. But you're wrong about him neglecting you as the cause. You're in love with Paul, Aaliyah declares. I neither confirm nor deny. I just stare at them. I've wrestled with my feelings for Paul, trying to silence the affection that has now grown stronger than before, and now my friends have practically spelled it out for me. Jada? Kylie talks to me, snapping me out of my thoughts. I'm in love with Paul, I state. Aaliyah squeezes my hand. Next, Kylie goes on. He's taking you for granted not because he's a jerk. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. He's a lawyer. He's busy, but because he knows you'll stick around. My eyes widen in surprise upon hearing it. Maybe Kylie's right. Paul's ignoring me because he knows I'm just here, waiting for him. I motion for Kylie to go on. Here's what I suggest that you do. Make him miss you. How the hell is he supposed to realize that when he's ignoring Jada in the first place? Audrey queries. He won't hear a thing from Jada, Aaliyah chimes in. Kylie nods in agreement. He's used to Jada initiating contact. For a change, Jada won't do a thing. I like what they're suggesting. It can probably work. But that's a double-edged sword, Audrey rebuts. We all turn to Audrey to hear her out. With Jada ignoring Paul, sure, he'll be curious. Audrey begins. He'll make an effort to reach out to Jada. And let's not forget about what started this mess, an agreement. Of course, though he's concerned with Jada, he'll be more concerned with Jada not letting the cat out of the bag. Kylie, Aaliyah, and I exchange glances. Audrey raises a valid point. If I do what Aaliyah and Kylie suggest, it will be a gamble on my part. Putting up some distance between Paul and I could help. Perhaps he'll realize what effect my absence has on him. But that's what I'm afraid of, really. What if he isn't affected? And if he is, what if Audrey's right? I'm confused. I shouldn't have agreed in the first place, I say. They all look at me sympathetically. Aaliyah is the first to speak. It's going to be okay, Jada. You haven't told him about your feelings, right? Aaliyah asks. I nod. Keep him in the dark in the meantime. Observe his actions towards you. And when you're finally convinced, you decide. Whatever it is, good or bad, you know we're always here. She assures me. If it goes ill, there's divorce, Kylie adds. Kylie, Audrey and Aaliyah exclaim. It's okay, I assure them. It has always been the plan since the beginning. I was just hoping that we could be more like a real married couple. Audrey moves closer to me and hugs me. Then Kylie and Aaliyah follow suit. I do my best to fight back tears.
Chapter 18. Paul. I loosen the stranglehold of my tie around my neck and let out a deep breath. Things have started rolling in full force since Father announced my new responsibilities a week ago. Rumors are already rife of Belford Industries' planned acquisition of Telco. Of course, we're organizing our own press conference to announce the buyout next week. My team and I have been up to our arms in paperwork and finance statements. Telco has been in trouble for a number of years. Their infrastructure has been sadly neglected, and their customer service is appalling to say the least. The number of their customers have been dwindling in recent years, too. On initial assessment, I would have advised Harrison Belford that buying it is a mistake. Apparently, Walter Collins, the CEO, is an old frat buddy of his. But delving deeper into the paperwork, we've assessed that it is actually a good decision. A lot of divisions could use work, but selling each division to different companies can actually net Belford a tidy profit, especially since he is mainly interested in acquiring their electronics and manufacturing divisions anyway. I have barely seen Jada all week. I mean, we've texted, barely. But it's not the same, is it? We usually make it a point to see each other every day after work, but since this whole thing started, I haven't even been able to do that. So, how is Jada doing? Matt asks me as he shuffles through the paperwork we have in front of us. It's already 8 o'clock at night, and we're having a working dinner while we work overtime. She's doing well, I say as I take a big bite of the burger I ordered. Is she okay with you working so many late nights? What do you mean? Well, with you being a newlywed and all, I'd say it's hard to be in your shoes, man. Not many women would be so understanding. Even one as busy as Jada herself, Jonathan comments. She understands, I tell him, even though I know no such thing. She said she does, but I don't really know. Well, good for you and for her. Giselle, one of our associates, says. She's very supportive then. Huh? I ask. Well, you're very busy now. Going home late and coming to work early. Basically, just sleeping at home and not much else. When you assume the presidency of the company, things will only get worse, Matt says. I shrug and take a mouthful of burger. I don't really know how to answer. I can't very well tell them we might be divorced by then, Right now, my wife is being extremely understanding. But then she knows it's only for this project. I'm unlikely to come home late every day, Jonathan explains. What about you, Giselle? I'm not married. But my boyfriend has been making noises about hugging the pillow at night because I get home so late. He says the pillow is his girlfriend now. Giselle laughs. I might end up looking for a new one after this. New what? Pillow? I ask. No boyfriend, she tells me. Well, if that ever happens, I have a mate I'd love to fix you up with, Matt informs her. I'll keep that in mind, Giselle says with a roll of her eyes. I hope it doesn't come to that. And on that note, how are we on the final paperwork for Mr. Belford? I ask. Our lawyers are drawing up the initial draft as we speak. Since your meeting with Mr. Belford isn't until tomorrow afternoon, they'll be emailing you the copy for your comments. We also need to make sure all figures are double-checked before the presentation, so let's finalize all these figures and details. We can't make a mistake on the spreadsheet. Mr. Belford is very detail-oriented. We need to go over everything with a fine-toothed comb. We must know Telco's information inside and out, I warn my team. They all nod and go back to work. They know how crucial this project is for the company. If we succeed, we will go down the annals of company history and glory. If not, I might as well throw in the towel and give Graham the shares. I let out a large breath. Everything has been going so well with this project, but I can't stop myself from thinking about Jada. We agreed that since this marriage isn't a real one, we wouldn't give up our respective leases, so, unbeknownst to anyone else, she's actually been staying at her place and I've been staying at mine. We figure it's easier in the long run. Since we've agreed to divorce anyway, it won't be as messy if we maintain separate residences. No one knows, of course, even though it can get really confusing at times. We've been bouncing from one place to the other that we've both ended up keeping some of our belongings in the other's home. That way, we won't have to do an actual walk of shame. We've been playing with fire, I know. But so far, no one's caught on with our dual residence arrangement. Yet, I miss Jada, I do. But I don't want to impose on her. She's already sacrificed far too much of herself to this arrangement. I've gained more from it than she has for sure. It's so ironic to me that we've spent day and night practically glued at the hip before the wedding. But now that we're actually married, we're more apart. I'm hoping she'll text me. This past week, everything has been so incredibly stressful and chaotic at work. All I've done is plopped down on top of my bed to sleep. Always still dressed in my work clothes. If not for my alarm, I'd have a hard time waking myself every morning. If we had a shower in our office, I wouldn't even be bothering to go home. That's how much this project has consumed my waking hours. And to be honest, the challenge and the thirst to prove myself have fueled my adrenaline, and I haven't allowed myself to pause and think. But for the past 2 days, I've had time to do so. We're coming into the home stretch, and I feel completely lost and anxious. I don't know why. I have everything I've ever wanted. I'm about to get everything I've worked so hard for. But I feel wretched. I feel like something is missing. What happened to the Paul who cares about nothing but work? What happened to the Paul who is so self-sufficient? What happened to the Paul who never depends on women? Who never has a relationship lasting more than a month? I don't recognize myself anymore, to be honest. When have I ever allowed myself to care so deeply about another person? If even this work isn't making me happy, what will? Who will? The last time I've allowed myself to feel any sort of feeling at all was when I was with Jada, the night of our wedding. I remember tucking a stray strand of her blonde hair behind her ear as we danced under the soft glow of the chandelier, how we clasped each other's hands, and she tucked them beneath her chin. How she gazed into my eyes and stroked her cheek against our hands. I remember how her hair smelled like gardenias and wisps tickled my nostrils as we danced. I love Jada, and I've been an asshole the whole week. I need to go to her and explain. I stand up abruptly, pushing my chair back so fast it creaks loudly against the floor. Everyone glances up and stops what they're doing to look at me. I have to go, I tell them, taking my coat from the back of my chair and grabbing my stuff. Where are you going, Paul? We need to finish this! They protest, but I'm already rushing out the room. It's a matter of life and death, my life, I explain fast. I'll come back before the meeting, I promise. And I leave, to go to Jada, my wife, if she'll have me. For real this time. Around half an hour later, I find myself knocking frantically at Jada's front door. Bam, 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 bam. I don't really care if I'm disturbing her neighbors. I need to talk to Jada now. I hope she's home. In my haste, I didn't even bother to call and check. I knock hard on the door, but not as hard as my heart is knocking against my chest.
Chapter 19. Jada. Honey, I'm home, I announce as I step into my apartment, carrying a bag full of groceries. I'm married, but I live alone. My husband calls when he remembers. I go through the bag, and while putting away the milk and the eggs in the fridge, I hear a knock on the door. Who could it be? I'm not expecting anybody. I head to the door and peek through the peephole. I see Paul. What is he doing here? I open the door and greet him. What brings you here? I ask, still standing at the doorstep. I've been trying to call you, he informs me. I know. You know, he repeats. Then why aren't you taking my calls? Because I don't want to, I simply say. I've done what my friends have advised me to do, but I've figured that perhaps Paul didn't really care for me, having heard nothing at all from him. He's only started contacting me again 3 days ago. I refuse to think that he's too late, but I have already set my sights on moving on. So it won't be so hard for me when the divorce proceedings have finally taken place. It has been incredibly difficult for me to ignore Paul when all I want is to see him, be with him, and live a life with him. But a girl's got to do what she's got to do. I don't know how long I can keep up with this facade, pretending not to care and being sarcastic and catty towards him, but I have to try. May I come in? He responds. Of course. I turn around and walk towards the couch. He closes the door, then follows me. I motion for him to sit down. I sit right across from him. What brings you here? I ask him again with as much sarcasm as I can. Can we talk? Paul says. I know it's rude to point out that we already are talking, but I'm full of anger right now, towards him and more at myself, and it's the best defense I have to keep my heart from easily giving in. We are talking, aren't we? I reply dryly. Then I try to take it back by smiling meekly. Please, just hear me out, he pleads. I don't respond, but I meet his gaze. How long am I going to put up with my pseudo-hatred towards Paul? I ponder, hating myself further. I can't stay mad at him for too long, that's a fact, but I don't want to expect anything from him anymore because it hurts. That's a fact too. I know I've ignored you these past few weeks, he begins. That's putting it lightly, I cut him in. More like neglected. He looks at me remorsefully. I'm sorry. I should have called you or sent you a text message. But you didn't, I finish his sentence. Seriously, how hard is it to type, hey, then send it? He puts his palms on his face, and if contemplating, then removes them to look at me. I have no excuse, Jada. He begins again. I've ignored, neglected you, taken you for granted, whatever you want to call it. I acknowledge that I did you wrong. It's difficult for me to show up here to apologize and tell you how sorry I am. But I'm trying, Jada. I'm trying. Would you please let me try? Words leave me. I don't know what to say. I've been caught up with work, he continues. I should have put you above it, but I didn't. I was too busy trying to keep the firm and be the best lawyer. And in doing so, I lost you. Almost, I whisper, tears welling up my eyes. His eyes glimmer with hope. What? Paul inquires. I want to hate you, Paul, even to act like I hate you, but I can't. I really can't. I'm not supposed to expect anything from this relationship, this setup. and it was wrong of me to do so. My voice trembles, and I feel hot tears flowing on my cheeks. He stands up, and before he can get close to me, I stop him. Stay right there. I'm now sobbing like a child. But I don't care. I have to let this out. I thought that maybe, in time, you'd feel a little affection towards me. But you were consistently cold. I continue. I told myself, give him time. He'll come to his senses. But you never did. I got tired of hoping, Paul. At least that's what I want to believe. Then why do you think am I here for? He interjects. I go on sobbing. I love you, Jada, he finally declares. I look at him, obviously shocked at what I've just heard. He then stands up and sits next to me. He holds my face and presses his forehead onto mine. He lets go, then removes the hair off my face. I love you, Jada, he repeats. I'm sorry for all the hurt that I've caused you, for how I've treated you. You deserve better. If you're willing, allow me to make it up to you. What took you so long? I say. I thought I'm never going to hear it. He smiles at me, then plants a kiss on my cheek. I love you, Paul. He grabs a tissue and wipes the tears off my face. I rest my head on his chest while enveloped in his arms. Where does this leave us? He asks. Husband and wife for real? I reply, turning to face him. Paul embraces me, and I hug him back. His lips find their way into mine, and I passionately respond to his kisses. I've missed those lips. Paul and I talk some more about what happened, clarifying things, and how we will proceed with our relationship. I'm ecstatic that he's spending the night with me, and what better way to end the night than some passionate play. This is it, baby. This is what you can get me that'll make me happy.
You know I'll get you whatever you want. All you need to do is ask me and I'll give it to you.
This ain't just it. This is everything I could ever want.
Now I'm curious. What does a strong, sassy woman like yourself want so badly?
Baby, you know what I want?
Can't wait to hear.
The Big Baddie Bundle from Tyler Walker. It has everything I need.
20 ebooks with over 1 million words of sassy romance and spice that'll keep you on your toes.
10 audiobooks containing over 60 hours of that seductive voice telling me naughty things all night long.
You don't need an audiobook for that, baby. Right here.
You may be fine and all, but no one tells it like the way Miss Tyler does. And I need her in my life.
The Big Baddie Bundle is everything you need. You can get it for 80% off.
Go to TylerWalker.com to browse the bundles that earn you the best deals.
It's time you treat yourself. Because you deserve it.
Escape your life with Miss Tyler.
Chapter 20. Paul, I can't believe how lucky I am. Who would have thought I'd ever find myself in this situation? I look at Jada, the love of my life, sitting at the table waiting for me to finish grilling our steaks. I never thought I'd fall in love. Nor did I ever, in my wildest dreams, imagine someone would love me back. But someone does. Jada does. And I love her so much in return, more than she'll ever know. We finally sorted out our living situation. She has given up her apartment, subletting it to one of her girlfriends who, as it turns out, has been looking to move after getting a better job in the city. My place had been the quintessential bachelor's pad before, but that's all changed now. The color is still in different shades of gray, but Jada has livened up the look with colorful accessories and bits and pieces of her own stuff from her old place. A bright scarf hanging over the lampshade, bountiful bouquets now sit inside glass vases. Coffee table books with colorful covers in the living room, lively paintings on the walls, and photographs. Lots and lots of photographs. On the walls, on the tables. They definitely liven up the place, making it more like a home instead of the showcase it had been. How are you feeling? I asked Jada. She's still quietly sipping her ginger ale and looking out over the city. She has her legs tucked underneath her and a hand cradling her chin. We had decided to eat on our balcony tonight, the smoke coming from the grill vanishing into the city instead of permeating our apartment. I'm feeling much better, thank you. She smiles sweetly at me. Her eyes are looking better at least, and she now has regained color in her cheeks. The ginger ale has helped. I've never seen you so pale. I do think we should still go to the doctor, though. Don't worry, it's past, she assures me. You've never gotten sick like that, though. Might be better to have a doctor check. I tell her with concern, flipping the steaks one more time. Could be the cheese I had for lunch, she says with a grimace. She's turning green around the gills again, thinking about the cheese. Here, maybe you just need food in you too. Something that's healthier and not so strong in taste, I say to her lovingly. I position the salad she's mixed earlier on the table and bring over the steaks I'd just finished cooking. No sooner had I brought the plate down with a clink, did Jada smell the meat and clutched her mouth. She runs toward our house, looking like she's going to throw up. I quickly chase her, my concern growing by the minute. What could possibly be wrong? Is she okay? I can hear heaving and retching through the locked door. Jada, what happened? Are you okay? I definitely think we should go to the hospital, I yell so she can hear me. The door is still shut tight. I jostle the doorknob. I want to help her, hold her even as she throws up. I hear only quiet as she stops gagging. I hear the sound of flushing and then running water a minute or so later. Jada finally opens the door. Her face is pale and she still has her arms crossed in front of her stomach. Are you okay? I put my palm up to her forehead. Maybe you got food poisoning. You don't feel warm, though. Paul, Jada says, taking my hand away from her head and holding it gently in one hand. She entwines her fingers with mine. I think I'm pregnant. I feel my breath catch. My vision seems to turn black, and I can feel myself starting to hyperventilate. Pregnant? Are you sure? I ask, my mouth dry. She looks at me with worry and nods without a word. Unexplicable feeling courses through me, and I gently pick her up, placing an arm underneath her knees in a honeymoon hold and twirling her slowly around. Paul! She squeals as we spin around the balcony. Put me down, you crazy man! I slowly lower her to her feet and give her a soft kiss on the lips. Have you bought a pregnancy test? I ask. Not yet. I was planning to buy one today, she admits. Wait right here, I command her as I grab my coat and rush out of the room. I don't really know what I'm looking for, and I find myself at a loss in the pharmacy. Pregnancy tests? I ask a clerk. She points to the aisle right behind me with a smile. I must look crazy to her with my disheveled hair and maniacal expression. Oh my God, there are so many choices. One with a pipette, one stick you pee in. I'm so confused, I just sweep up one of each kind and pay for it all, running back home in my long strides. I'm panting when I open the door. Jada! I'm in here, she yells out. She's just lying down on the bed with her e-reader. What's up? What's up? What? Come on. I pull her up and push her, again gently, toward the bathroom. Have you peed? Not yet. Well, why don't you go now? What are you waiting for? Can you give me some privacy, please? Oh, right, I say sheepishly as I leave the bathroom, closing the door shut behind me. I stay there, though, putting my ear against it, listening. Unfortunately, my door's too thick to hear anything. After a few minutes, Jada opens the door holding one of the pee sticks in her hand and looking at the results. Well, I ask her. Wordlessly, she hands over the result to me. Plus sign. Then she hands a second one over. Happy face. And the last stick. Pregnant. I whoop and grab her, twirling her again, only once this time much more gently. Jada and I laugh out loud. We're going to be a family. I lower her down to my level and lock eyes with her. With a sigh, I put my forehead against hers and softly give her a kiss. Jada returns it sweetly, as she always does. Her lips are soft against mine. She tastes so sweet. I cup my hands under her chin and tilt her face up higher, deepening the kiss. I love you, Paul. And you. I hug her close to me and say, we're going to be a family.
Looks like the level of passion in this chapter is pushing YouTube's limit.
It's disappointing, I know. Trust me when I say we want nothing more than to get down to the dirty details.
But releasing these free audiobooks on YouTube means that we have to abide by the rules.
Even though YouTube won't allow us to put something so spicy on the air, you can still find it on TylaWalker.com.
Miss Tyla has an unbelievable collection of uncut, unabridged audiobooks and ebooks.
For access to the full, unfiltered scene, go to TylaWalker.com and use code SAVE40 for 40% off any digital product.
This is the deal of a lifetime, a discount that can be applied to bundles that are already listed at a discounted price.
You heard that right. It's time for you to treat yourself.
With Miss Tyla.